Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fuck with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need OG keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. And Bitcoin, oh my God, getting the little front run of the daily, guys, pushing up into one of the key levels of resistance that we looked at yesterday. For, you guessed it, a lower high and another lower low. So what is coming next here for Bitcoin, guys? Are we going to be able to get a bounce as we are testing key support, guys? This support is extremely important as we looked at yesterday, guys. Pretty much if we lose where we're bouncing right now, guys, we are going to be looking down towards about $96,633, I believe is the exact number. Are we headed down towards that POC, or can we get a little bit of a bounce here? We're going to take a look at the charts. We'll take a look at money flow. We'll try to find some signals that could call for the move to the upside. We'll cover a little bit of the long term, and, of course, we'll take a look at the altcoins as well. But shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for tuning in, and shout out to Christian Mello, bro. Bro, you literally have us in tears before we go live. Well, actually, I was in tears first because I burnt myself on this extremely hot Aztecian Cactus Black Coffee. But then Carissa Mel had us cracking up. So shout out to you, man. Let's see. We got Ligma Wick in the chat, one of the best names in the world. Said it's not over until Fast Fart Coin goes to a penny. Shout out to Ligma. Welcome in, bro. We got Dazman in the chat. Stupid Bitcoin, which we are still working on calling him Smart Bitcoin. Welcome in, bro. We got Rudy. What is going on? Said inject that hopium into my veins, bro. I need it. Well, I'll try to look at the bullish case. And, of course, we'll look at the bearish case as well. I'll let you know which way I'm leaning. I could give the bullish hopium and still lean against it, right? But, yeah, we'll try to give you some hopium here, guys. Let's see. We got Multisig Dummy. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. We got Panda the Prophet in the chat. We got Brain Feeder said pump it. But we'll see. We're going to take a look at the charts here in a second. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate the free content we give here every single weekday on the channel. And don't forget to show the mods some love, guys. You'll notice Tony is not in the chat. We'll just say he had a permanent meeting with the floor of the ocean. But anyway, let's see. I have an idea for Frankie's tier. Shout out to Christian Mello. Bro, you're going to be the one that we will never ban, but probably should be with some of the crazy stuff you say in the chat. But shout out to Christian Mello. We love you, bro. Thank you for being here. We got Jesse, Darren Does Things, Tyler Durden right now holding it down in the chat. Show the mod some love, guys. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts, whether you want to look at them or not. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are, obviously getting that second drop down here on Bitcoin. And as you know, if you guys tuned into the live stream yesterday, we were looking at this local volume profile, and we had a key level, or two key levels down below. Number one, we have the anchored VWAP here. This is kind of what we were holding yesterday, and I was personally waiting to come down and tap into the daily horizontal that we had down here before looking for a long position. And if we did not come down and tap that, guys, we were looking for this to be a lackluster push to the upside for a little push for, very specifically, a lower high and a lower low to come, which we did end up seeing. Which, of course, what money flow was pointing towards. Of course, I do not like to call for this, guys. But as you know, let me see. I think I have the levels here. That was one of the short setups on the premium Discord, so let me go ahead and hide that. Let me hide some of these setups so I'm not leaking any secret information. But obviously, we were looking at these two major levels of resistance, or at least locally, if we did get that early bounce, there were two major levels we were looking at. These two Fibonacci retracements. We had the local one in here confluent with that value area high, and then we had the full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low coming in here. Actually made one more low there, so that technically did move down slightly. But we had that full Fibonacci retracement closer to about $105,500 leading up into the 786 at $106,378. And, of course, Biddy decided to come on up in here, deviate above that volume profile into that key level of resistance, the first opportunity to put in the lower high before seeing that lower low come in to approach these next two key levels of support. I'm going to get into this kind of situation down here in just a second. But as you can see, we did get the lower high and the lower low to come in with a very simple, let me get some of these brushes off the chart, right, with a very simple deviation above the highs here in to our Fibonacci retracements. With the higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves, there is the deviation above the high. There are those bearish divergences indicating a potential break back into the range. Once you break back below that value area high, the next likely place for price to go is that POC. We couldn't hold it, and we looked for that second drop into the 786 value area low zone. Now, this is slightly front ran at this point, guys, so we'll cover that in just a minute. But here we are, right? We look for the lower high. We look for the lower low. We get it. Now what, right? Obviously, we did not get any real support here on our first zone, which was somewhat pretty confluent, to be quite honest with you guys, right? We had a daily level. We also had a daily MPOC and a weekly MPOC in here, and you can see we just broke below it, turned it into resistance, lost that POC, and started heading down towards that value area low. But the question is, are we going to get the bounce here on our second zone here for a bigger rotation up through the profile and potentially higher, or are we going to be looking for a bigger continuation down? Are we going to lose this 786 value area low, which you guys know is a very key level of support, because if we are unable to hold on top of this, or even if we lose it slightly and then reclaim, that is what we need to get that bigger move to the upside if we get the second drop. And I'll talk about kind of what I'm looking for here locally in a second. But guys, overall, I'm just going to talk a little bit more medium time frame. Of course, if we do not hold this 786 value area low, guys, there is not much below us. I am going, and as I mentioned yesterday, right, I'm going to be teaching. Well, I am going to be teaching today, but I am going to be treating any longs here as very local scalp positions, almost anticipating to eventually get stopped out of those. And I am not really interested in any significant longs here unless this one winds up playing out. I am holding a small scalp long here. I'll pull it up. I think I have it here over on Femex. Pretty much at break even here, guys, up about 290. It is a partial position. I will potentially look to add to this if we get a second drop down. So I am technically holding a scalp long, but I do want to be clear here, guys. I am not necessarily expecting this to be a big move up. And if you guys remember, the last time I took a position like that was right down here, looking for this scalp to give us a little push up towards about $103,000 to $104,000 before seeing it roll back over. We did indeed see that. It's kind of a similar situation here, so maybe we see this play out locally, but I do not have super high hopes here, guys. Money flow is kind of wonked, but of course, there is an opportunity to potentially fill the rest of this range. But as I mentioned just before, right, we are technically have front run our 786. Let me tighten up this box a little bit. Carishamella, bro, I can't even say anything without thinking about how you're taking my language, even if I don't mean it a certain way. But let me tighten up this zone here at the 786 value area low. And you guys can see we actually did slightly front run this level, which of course does make me a little suspicious. I did take the long position, but as you guys know, when you front run these key levels, it is more likely than not that you will eventually see them actually get tapped. So this kind of adds to my little bit of suspicion of coming back down. On top of that, we do have our money flow kind of looking a little bit suspicious, very wonked out. You have the 24-minute crossing into the green. You have the 45-minute in the green, back out into the red. This was part of the reason why we were looking for that second drop down yesterday for that little retracement for a lower high and a lower low. It did have to do with this 45-minute money flow crossing into the red with our 12-hour red dot, which was printing at the time. And you can even see money flow has been super chopped up here. We even faked out back into the green. only to come back into the red. So the money flows, even with that fake out, did wind up giving you that pretty accurate signal for that second drop to the downside. But of course, guys, if we lose this value area low 786 and we cannot reclaim it for a bigger retracement up, of course, we are going to have to be looking a lot lower for Bitcoin, which brings up our next level that we've covered a million times here on the channel. So I'll just bring it up briefly. It is sitting here on the POC of the range at about $96,633. And just from a general perspective, guys, I'm going to be honest, right? Like medium term, like Bitcoin looks pretty weak here, right? And I've been saying this for quite a while, and we have seen a pretty decent drop down since then. But, you know, I just don't see a ton of, like, this chart does not look super good. On the high time frames, even on the lower time frames, it's pretty chopped up. Now, of course, we can see retracements. We can even see a potentially bigger retracement. But overall, right, like I come to these higher time frames, guys, and I start to ask myself, and I'm not really going to cover the long term too much today because I feel like we've been talking about that a lot. But, you know, it's just from the timing perspective of the cycle, like things are very worrisome here, in my opinion, right? You have all the bearish divergences, etc. Timing of the cycle seems like we're coming to the end of this thing. I do think there is a chance that the top is in on Bitcoin. This is not me calling the top, right? I've said this many times before. This is not news, right? Like definitely an argument to be made here. And, you know, my stance recently has been like, there's an argument to be made that the top is in. I think it's a legitimate argument. And then the argument for, you know, to be honest, even if we get a bigger push to the upside, guys, like we have a rough road ahead of us in order to see Bitcoin make new all-time highs. And I will get into alt season a little bit on what and talk about kind of what we could potentially see play out. Are we going to see the altcoins run before the end of the year? Is Q4 going to be good for alts? It's just really difficult, right? Because I see a lot of resistance sitting above us on Bitcoin, even if we get the bigger retracement. When we pull up some of our larger ranges here, let me hide this folder. You know, we pull up our upper volume profiles, right? Like we have like a ton of resistance, even if we got to push back up to, call it, you know, $109,600. You have the anchored VWAP. You have your golden pocket 786 retracement, your value area low, your POC. And then you would think, well, hey, if we can get above there, you know, let's head up to all-time highs. Well, not so fast, right? You have that full golden pocket 786 retracement sitting just above that, which is still an opportunity to get a bigger rejection in, or have a bigger rejection come in from those key levels. Now, once we get above that 786 at about $112,600, call it $112,500, I would feel a little bit better, of course, to come up and sweep that liquidity above 116K. But it's just like we have a lot of work to do here, and hopefully this kind of like illustrates the resistance we have above, right? This is the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. If we cannot reclaim that, right, this could indicate that we are going to continue a much bigger downtrend. And, of course, money flow on the higher time frames, such as the 2-day, are obviously pointing to the downside. So this would indicate that the trend is more likely to continue down. You're below the anchored VWAP. You've lost your macro range up here. We're also getting accepted into our macro value area down here, which makes the next likely targets, if the trend does continue, the POC and the value area low. And to be quite honest, as I mentioned yesterday, right, like this isn't even really that big of a level, in my opinion. We have no confluence on this level. The bigger area of confluence is coming in on the value area low, as we have looked at ever since, right? We basically put this top in right here as we came back down to revisit this $108,000 level, right? This is where we started bringing up that value area low as our next major confluent level of support, which of course has the golden pocket right on that value area low. We also have two daily MPOCs down there. You can see one here and one right on that value area low. So, of course, the POC is going to be your next local target. However, you know, I would not be surprised if this does continue down, that this is going to be the bigger area of interest for me, right? PLC we can get bounces off of course, like even though I'm not expecting a big bounce from where we're at, still holding that long position for a little bit of a push to the upside, right? If you can make a little bit of money on these bounces, why would we not? Now up almost $400, you know, why would we not just jump in there and grab that free money, right? But that does not mean that I am necessarily like, oh my God, Frankie Candles is long, we're going to $1 million, you know, and this just goes to show, right? Like you can have a more medium to longer term bearish bias and still catch those longs and make some money. You know, I would still consider this like pretty close to break even. This really hasn't given us a decent move just yet. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this, guys, from the higher time frame, it's like, you know, if we are not, unless we get a fake out on money flow, we can rip back above all this resistance and just start yeeting off into all-time highs. We get stuck underneath $108,000. I'm going to show you guys some confluence on this level, right? Like that 108K zone is the big level we've been talking about forever, but it's not just the value area high, but it is a big reason, right? If we get stuck underneath here, even if we fake out, get back down in, you know, eventually that POC and value area low are going to be in the cards, right? POC is actually pretty close right now, and then eventually I would even expect if we come down to that POC, right, come back down, maybe we get bounces, but money flow on the higher time frames, such as the 3-day, coming out, such as the 2-day, crossed into the red, right? This would indicate the longer trend is continuing down, which could make that kind of bigger target, that value area low, sitting between about 94 and 91.3K. So I'm just going to leave that there, right? This might take a little bit of time, right? There might be some moments of excitement there, and hopefully that excitement turns into some kind of scam, some new all-time highs. But again, the charts are definitely more pointing towards a continuation of the downtrend, making those bigger targets. So keep these on your chart, guys. Of course, I'm going to kind of go over what this might mean for altcoins. Are we going to be able to see some kind of alt season come in? I'm going to go over all that. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. And just an honorable mention here, guys. I don't necessarily expect, a massive, Darth Maul candle, just, straight to the downside, or just, a complete, Goblin Town candle. But if we do continue down, right, I assume we will get retracements and bounces within this range, right? Super choppy price action so far, ever since we lost this range, right? This has just been complete chop fest. But if we do come down to that value area low, guys, and we can't hold this range, the next big area of support is sitting between about, I would call it 85,000 all the way down to about 82K. We have a lot of confluence down there. We have the 786 of this same golden pocket pull. That 786 comes down right here at about $85,298. And then you have 3 daily MPOCs down there as well. Do we have any weekly MPOCs? Yeah, you have a weekly MPOC right on that 786 on top of that. So it's these are the next real big levels that I can see to the downside, right? And of course, we have that POC. Maybe you get a miraculous bounce off there. But I'm just, it's pretty much scalps until we take out these lows, in my opinion, right? And then even at the POC, I'm being very cautious. Maybe I'll look for a swing long position here, but by swing long, guys, I mean maybe another rotation of the range. We'll have to see where those Fibonacci retracements come in if we pull from the high. Yeah, it's kind of hard to pull because I don't know how low price is going to go. But, maybe we get a little bit of a little bit of a swing trade there. But again, right, if we get the move down here, what is this money flow going to look like, guys? Unfortunately, don't shoot the messenger, guys. Unfortunately, that money flow is very likely going to be in the red. Lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows is kind of my overall sentiment here until proven otherwise, really until we break above 112.5K. So I'll leave that there. I don't want to cover the long term too much. But locally here, let's talk about what we have going on money flow. So obviously, right, we had this local range that we looked at yesterday. We front ran this value area low, so if we do continue down, next key level of support locally is going to be between about $100,668 to $100,391. I would be okay with deviations and then reclaims, but again, look at your money flow, right? We have the let's pull up the 15-minute money flow back in the red. We have some medium time frame green dots looking to print. We have little bullish divergences, although not the cleanest divergences in the world. You can see here we do have lower lows on our price action, almost into our key level of support. Again, this is front ran. This does make me a bit suspicious of coming back down there and revisiting. But you do have a 1 hour bullish divergence confirmed. You have the 2 hour bull div looking to print. But of course, right? Anytime I see these divergences, guys, right? The divergences oftentimes indicate some kind of a reversal, right? You have a higher high in your price action. You have a lower high in your momentum wave. This indicates a reversal, right? But in order for this reversal to be a continuation, right? A big move. You want your money flow headed in the same direction, right? So it's the same thing for a bull div. If I have a low, a lower low, and then I have a low and a higher low on my momentum waves, right? There's my bullish divergence. But if money flow is coming out, I would have to expect that bounce to be somewhat lackluster, right? Sure, it can give you a push up, but it could just be a lackluster bounce to get a bigger move to the downside, right? In order for this to be a sustainable bounce up, you want to see the money flow crossing into the green as well. And when we look at the 2 hour time frame, you can see, of course, you do have the lower lows and the higher lows. Not the prettiest divergence, in my opinion, but look at your money flow, right? Your money flow is coming out. If I wanted this to be a nice 2 hour bull div for a massive continuation up, or even just a sustainable continuation up, I need the money flow to look opposite, right? So money flow is definitely coming out here, which does make me a little suspicious on this scalp long position. But coming on over to the 3 hour, right? 3 hour money flow. This is a nice big red wave crossing into the green. You're back in the red here, very choppy. Your 4 hour money flow was coming up into the green. Now it's massively in the red here. Money flow looking very sketchy, right? And I was even letting the premium Discord know as we came down to our first key level of support. Not looking that good, right? And I was talking about how I would prefer to see a lower low come in here because although we did have some divergences printing on the 30-minute, right? We had the low, lower low. We had the low, and the higher low, it just didn't look good to me, right? Because when you look at the 15-minute, I'll come back into bar replay mode and just kind of show you guys what that looked like at the time, right? Our 15-minute momentum wave was looking like this. And I look at this with money flow coming out. You can see that on the 15-minute here, right? Money flow looking to cross over into the red, VWAP rolling over. And I say to myself here, it's like, this looks like it probably wants to take out those lows, potentially into the value area low. And then once we get that, we could eventually print somewhat of a 15-minute bullish divergence. Of course, a few minutes after that, we did get the bounce, or we did get the second drop. We took out the lows, and we did put in that 15-minute bull div, making me look to enter that trade. But even now, right, it's like, that's good for a little bit of a local bounce, but, how sustainable can this be? Well, I would say money flow is not really pointing towards a massive continuation up. Maybe we can come back down, revisit the actual 786, physically tap these levels. As I always say, a lot of times when these levels are front ran, you do want to come down and revisit them. But even here, it's like we'd still need to see all the money flow flip around for a big move up. So it's really just scalp longs until we wind up seeing a bigger sign of strength here, guys. Unfortunately, I hate coming up here and saying that. And of course, yesterday we were looking at that incoming daily red dot with our 80 and 90-minute money flow starting to come out here. So this could be another indication. 90-minute not looking as bad here, but that 80-minute is coming out pretty aggressively. This is actually part of what we looked at for the continuation up over the weekend going into Monday, right? And that did wind up being the case. We got the 80-minute money flow crossover. You get that continuation up, but of course, we were just looking for that to come up into our short setup here for another drop down. So kind of nailing these moves, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, the moves are just not in the direction that most people would hope for. So yeah, next key level right down here, value area low 786. We'll see if we can come revisit that 100,668 to 100,391. If we are able to reclaim our support zone here, right? This previous support is going to be resistance on the way up. Let me pull up that daily, right? So until, right, I would really, to feel decent about this position here, guys, I would need to see a flip of this daily. And then, of course, we would want to get above this anchored VWAP, and then we also are going to run into this value area high. So I'm just going to be trading this as a range until it breaks. And then if we lose this, I'm looking down towards that POC at $96,633. And we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. Maybe we'll get the signals. Maybe it'll be just a mega nuke right through the level. Very hard for me to call at this point. But I just still do not think this is out of the question here, guys. And then at that point, it's like, what does the rest of the price action look like for Bitcoin the rest of the year, right? It's like, again, a lot of people are going to say, well, hey, we could come in and put this higher low in. Look at this beautiful trend line, right? Beautiful. Look at this. We could come all the way down and just hold this trend line, right? That would be, well, we're kind of holding it, but, depending on how you draw this, you can get this to look many different ways depending on how you want to draw it. But, some people draw this trend line and be like, no, look, we're still on top of the trend line. We can hold that golden pocket for a higher low and a higher high. And, sure, that is an argument that you could make, maybe, depending on how you draw that trend line. Again, it's a little bit subjective, but, not every golden pocket 786 is going to give you an actual higher low before a higher high, right? And this is where I kind of bring up that 2021 price action. Same thing back here, right? You can't, of course, that golden pocket is there, but it's like you can't just ignore all those bearish divergences that we have, very similar to 2021. It's the same thing here, right? A lot of people would think, oh my God, right? Hang on one second, guys. I think somebody just broke my window. Hang on one second. I'm going to leave this running. If I don't come back in 5 minutes, send help. Hang on one second. All right, guys. False alarm. False alarm. Mrs. Candles just shattered something. Good Lord. I thought someone was breaking in. Thought I was going to have to pull out the pipe or the blick. We're good. We're good. Hey, yeah, get your cat. Shout out to Full Melt Mike. We strap, guys. But yeah, that was low key. That low key got me a little shook. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, let's continue on here. Thank you for Mrs. Candles making me think that we were getting a B&E happening. But anyway, right, this golden pocket 786, everybody would be like, oh my God, higher low, 100K, right? And not only would people say that, people were saying that, right? Because I was here in this point of the market. And, this is kind of where I was battling with myself, because a lot of people were looking for 100K, 30K is the bottom, bro. It's a higher low. We're going up. And, I'm very agnostic, guys, right? I have very little ego when it comes to this stuff. And I just start to think it's like, man, Like, is what I'm looking at just completely irrelevant? Everyone's just looking up. And of course, right, why did I not look for a higher low here? It had everything to do with this higher time frame money flow. All your high time frame money flow was coming out. Your 3-day was coming out. Your 2-day was in the red, right? So, if you come down to these key levels with money flow on high time frames coming into the red, it just makes it a lot less likely that you're going to put in a higher low for a higher high, right? Not every Fibonacci retracement, not every support level is going to be created equal, right? If money flow was crossing into the green here, we'd say it looks very good. But I would say the situation we're in right now is very much closer to this, right? It's like if you come down here, of course, I can't say that if you bounce here, you're not holding higher lows, because you absolutely are. But what is the probability of that happening? Well, based off look at your money flow here, guys. It's coming out, right? So like for me personally, even if we did come down there and get a bounce, I would still have to view it as a lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows to come. And, that's what the charts are saying. This is what we have made all of our calls off here on the channel off of, right? It's just the charts. It's just the information. Are the charts going to be right 100% of the time? No. But, that leaves me with the only thing to say here for the hopium is that you're kind of just praying for it to just scam up, right? Which is not impossible. It's just way lower. It's just way lower probability based off the charts. So there it is. We'll see. Once we get down here, maybe money flow will look different. I'm just saying it's going to be, you would really need this thing to just like go straight up, which does not happen very often. So there you go. But those are the biggest key levels of support. And again, like if we come back down here, it's like I feel worse and worse, or I should say more and more confident that it looks more likely that the top is in on Bitcoin. Now, does this mean altcoins are going to zero forever? Well, let's talk about it for a second. I'm going to come into chat in just a second, and we'll get into that. But yeah, locally, before we move on to talking about the altcoins, and still kind of sticking on Bitcoin here, but before we get a little bit deeper into the altcoins, local levels here, guys, just watch this local range. This is what I'm going to be trading until it's broken. We got to flip this daily level here at about 102,249. We can get back above that. Maybe we can get a bigger retracement, but my bias still remains, even if we get a bigger retracement, like I do still think that continuation can come. Hopefully that's wrong, but that's what I'm seeing here on the charts. And again, I would say, once you can't reclaim $100,373, probably going down to crack these lows and head down towards that POC. All right, so let's jump on into the chat. We got all this. Shout out to Base Bailey. Said, Frankie, we got all the scams up. Now I want, we got all the scams down. Now I want to scam up. Shout out to Base Bailey. Hopefully we can get it. Right? Maybe they'll do those stimulus checks. Hopefully they don't give it in the form of like tax savings or whatever, and hopefully they just give out money. Maybe that'll help. But I do want to point that out, right? Somebody asked me the other day, do I think the $2,000 stimulus checks could send us into an alt season? And, it's a little tricky, right? Maybe it could give us a little bit of a stimulus into the altcoin market, but to be honest, people will bring you back to the pandemic, right? And they'll say like, oh, they had the stimulus checks, we had alt season there. But the problem is we had massive money printing back then, right? So if we had stimulus checks, that's not really money printing in the traditional sense, right? So in my opinion, I think you would need those $2,000 stimulus checks, which, by the way, I don't think it's confirmed that they're just going to give out checks. Like, it could be in different forms that wouldn't be as helpful for the altcoins. But I just don't think that's something that's going to send you into a parabolic alt season of what everybody dreams of, right? Now, if we had that on top of massive money printing in general, then that would be a different story, right? But that is not really the case here. So we'll see what happens if that winds up going through. But, that's not something I'm be like, oh my God, that's like massive money printing. It's not really money printing in the traditional sense. And that's just not my stance, but that's kind of like where I come from. When I think about that stuff, right? It's like, if we had massive money printing and stimulus checks, it's like, oh my God, the money printing puts risk on assets in a very good environment to do well, right? And then the stimulus checks can also help like people be spending that money rather than saving it. But we just don't have that money printing. So when I talk about money printing, I'm talking about actual money printing, not just like these stimulus checks. And then, again, if they don't do just physical checks and they do it in form of like tax savings or whatever, I think there's a couple other things that they can do. That probably wouldn't really be that great at all. I'm not saying it would be bad, right? But it just wouldn't really stimulate at all as far as altcoins go. Let's see. Can we get alt season on that lower high before the lower low on Bitcoin? Shout out to Perry. This is exactly what I wanted to bring up today. So when I talk about the kind of situations that we could see play out on alt season, right? Now, either you're going to see like kind of what we saw happen here, right? Which was Q4 of 2024. This was essentially the only alt season that we've seen this cycle. This is when Bitcoin is absolutely pumping. And, unless we got something like that, which again is, in my opinion, like very hard to figure out, like if you're going to get that. Like I said, you have all that resistance above you. So like I think that's probably lower probability to see Bitcoin just like launch into new all-time highs and have all the altcoins follow. That's probably my least likely case, unfortunately. Again, I'm not saying it's guaranteed the top is in, but it's just like just looking at all that resistance from a chart perspective. It's like we need to reclaim some real critical levels before we can start entertaining that as an idea. But that second situation that we've explained, a while ago, was the fact that you could potentially see on, you get the initial big drop down. And then on those retracements, right? It's like Bitcoin puts in the top, and then you get that capital rotation within crypto, right? This is going to be different, in my opinion, than if you have massive money printing, crazy retail FOMO, massive blow-off top alt season like everybody wants and everybody hopes for. But something that you can see happen is on those retracements, and I've literally brought up this exact range, which is the macro value area down below that we were just looking at, right? If we do come down here and we do see some kind of a significant rally to the upside, meaning a relief rally, even if it is going to be a lower high before a massive lower low and a bear market to come in, which, every day, guys, that we are not just scamming above all this resistance, it does look more and more likely the case. But on these retracements, sometimes what you can see is dominance will drop, and you'll see that capital rotation into altcoins. Now, again, I don't know if this is going to cause that crazy parabolic, like, just God candles every day when you wake up type of alt season that people are hoping for, right? Because you still don't have the money printing. You don't have that liquidity being injected. But you can just see like an internal rotation of capital from Bitcoin into the altcoins, and it could cause some kind of a rally. So that would be kind of the hope, right? And I do think that's possible, right? Because when I look at the Bitcoin dominance chart at face value, right, it's very hard for me to not look at these higher time frames, such as the 4-day, and say that this looks pretty weak, right? We've been saying this forever, right? Of course, we saw that daily bullish divergence. Let me pull it up here on the alt chart. Of course, we saw this daily bullish divergence forming, and we anticipated this little continuation to the upside, right? But, when you take a look at the higher time frames, like you could still argue this does look pretty weak. You have your 4-day red dot printing, not the big signal, but really what I'm looking at here is the money flow coming out on the higher time frames. So, and you're at your first major Fibonacci retracement / value area low confluence, which is a big level of resistance. So, like, the question is, are you going to see it start melting down from here, or do we have to continue up a little bit and retest some of these higher levels where you'll have a second opportunity to drop? We'll have to see what happens, right? Because, like, it does, just because dominance goes if dominance goes up, right, like it's probably not going to be great for altcoins, but it doesn't mean you can't get rejected from that second level. So it's kind of like a wait and see kind of situation. But just from a money flow perspective, this looks pretty weak, right? Like we can continue the high, the low, and this lower high, or even a lower high here. There is opportunity to get that drop on dominance. It's just really hard to call when that's going to happen, right? Like how long are we going to chop around here? Is the drop going to happen here? Are we going to flip back up and push back into the bigger level? It's very, very, very difficult. But just from a simple market cipher perspective and even a market structure perspective, if we can put in these lower highs, it does look weak, right? This money flow is coming out. We have a massive, this Bitcoin dominance has been in the green since March 2023. Might be time to start spending some time in the red. But we need this to start happening pretty quickly, in my opinion. So we'll keep an eye on it, right? Like this just generally, like even on the 5-day, right? Red dot looking to print. Generally, you're trending to the downside, right? Big green wave starting to trend out, right? So we need all this to come out. And this does look somewhat weak to me, in my opinion. So it's like, that doesn't look horrible. But again, it's like we're running out of time in the cycle. There's no money printing. So it's like there's so many things that it's just that we don't have everything lining up in the same direction, right? There's some good things. There's some bad things. And I would still say that the bearish signs outweigh the bullish signs. So for alt season, you're kind of hoping that you're going to see the altcoins rally in that kind of secondary situation that we have covered many a times here, right? Which is looking for the bigger retracements. Looking for the bigger retracements and then hoping that you get the dominance to start dropping on those rotations for one last little altcoin pop. You get the rotation of Bitcoin into the altcoins, and then everything kind of just ends out, right? So that's the argument, right? I've presented this many a times, but it's a wait and see, guys. It's a wait and see. Now, I don't think if we're going into a bear market, it's just going to be down in a straight line, right? You're going to have some kind of retracements, like especially up at the top, right? This stuff can get very choppy. You get the first drop down, right? Or first major drop down, you get little retracements, major drop down, and then you get a pretty sizable, 47% rip to the upside. People were like all amped over this 47% rip. But again, money flow on the higher time frames, keeping you on the right side of that, right? It's like all your money flows in the red. you're not looking for the higher high, right? You're looking for the lower highs and the lower lows. So you're hoping for that bigger retracement. I do think that is, I mean, to be honest, it's the only thing that you can look for, in my opinion, unless we get some kind of random announcement. Oh, my God, we're starting to print money like crazy. Then maybe everything just scams up like crazy. But I would say, I would be expecting if the alts are going to run, it's going to happen on some kind of a bigger bounce on Bitcoin here. Hopefully on declining Bitcoin dominance. So that's the hope. We'll see what happens, guys. I'm praying. I want it to go up just as much as everybody else. But let's see. Rectober followed by Dumpvember. Shout out to Eugene Sky. I thought it was supposed to be Uptober. But again, guys, I always share this with you. Uptober. Oh, my God, this news event. Oh, my God, this news event. Don't care. Just don't care, right? The charts are going to be right way more than they're wrong. And, I'm never just going to call, of course, October is typically a good month, but not every October is the same, right? You're going to be in different environments in each year, right? So, and turns out that I'm pretty sure this October closed red. Yeah, like this October was red. So, not something, it's, I always see, like, especially my normie friends, they're just like, this thing is happening. That's bullish. We're going to pump, right? And it's like, well, not necessarily, right? You can't just look back at what's happened in the past and just expect that to be the exact same thing, which is why I'm very cautious about the 4-year cycle. It's why it's one of the only reasons why I am entertaining the idea of maybe an extended cycle, right? Like maybe we have to, and even if we get the extended cycle, guys, right? Like this chart looks bearish. Even if we're not going to go into the traditional 75-ish% correction in a bear market, right? Like these are still bearish signs. It could still mean that there's lower prices to come. So, maybe we get some kind of like a muted bear market again, right? And then they start printing money and then maybe the cycle extends a little bit or we see something a little bit different happen. And it's, of course, because like I'm never just going to look at the 4-year cycle and be like, well, it happened like that last time, so it has to happen like that this time, right? If they start printing money, now we're in a different situation, right? And that's just the fact of the matter. So it's the same thing when it comes to the news events. It's like same thing with the ETFs. I'll cover this for 2 seconds because I cover it all the time. Oh, my God, ETFs were approved. We're going to pump now, right? All my normie friends buy in, and then they text me a couple weeks later, like, what the heck happened? I'm down 20%. I thought the ETFs were good. And I'm like, yes, long term, right? Like, but you literally, you bought the news, right? You didn't buy the rumor and sell the news. You bought the news, and then you got massive drawdown. Hopefully a lot of them held on. I don't actually know if they did or not, but obviously it was going to be long term. But it's like never those news events don't translate one-to-one on price action, right? Like bullish news does not mean instant up, right? It could mean long-term good, right? But when you have expected good news, oftentimes you want to buy the rumor and sell that news, right? And you get that 21-ish% correction before it finally gives you the big move up. So yeah, let's see here. Yo, shout out to Karishamella said it. That's it. Make me a mod. Shout out to Karishamella. You're going to have to do some like community service or something, bro. Shout out to Karishamella. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Chrisamella. I think that's how you say it. Do I think Bitcoin will hit 111.7 before it crashes? Shout out to Ali. Well, I'll just cover some of these key levels to the upside, right? Like your biggest level, guys, $108,000 macro value area high. It's just that simple, right? You don't have to understand. You don't necessarily have to be keeping an eye on all these local levels that we have, right? Like the reason I look at all these local levels is because I'm a trader. We can make money on these tiny little bounces to the upside. And if I can do that, right, if I can make money on this little bounce up, I'm going to do that, right? But from a high time frame perspective, 108K is really the biggest level above us right now. It's the macro value area high. We do not want to get stuck in here because it will point towards the POC and the value area low, right? So 108K is the biggest level, right? At least as of right now. Once we get above there, we can start looking at 111 to 112K. But if I pull up this other chart here, guys, you can see we also have a spider line, which we literally tapped to the dollar here, right, on Monday. We got that retracement. We have the spider line coming through there, as well as some of our other major key levels of resistance, which we're sitting right here. We have the golden pocket, anchored VWAP, value area low, and then that spider line was literally coming through like right here, right? And that's a pretty big spider line, right? If I pull this up back on the Bitstamp chart, right, these spider lines, I know they seem like magic, but oftentimes, right, like these spider lines will hold you back. And then they're kind of like, I don't want to say they're like gaps. There's nothing here saying like this does not have anything to do with volume or anything, but you can see big resistance, and then once you break above it, you kind of just fire right up back to that bigger spider line, right? You cool off, you get your second rejection, all the way back down to your next spider line. You break above it, and then you get the big move up, right? We did not come up and tap this spider line just yet, but the reason I bring that up is because if you look at this, right, if we end up not being able to get above this spider line, the next macro spider line is sitting all the way down here towards, in the 70,000s. So, and this obviously trends up over time. So it depends on how fast we come down. If we came down in a straight line right here, that puts the spider line about 74. This is 77. If we chop sideways and then come down, right, it could be as high as 80K, right? But, massive, massive level, right? Got stuck underneath it, flipped it, massive move up, right? We do not want to lose this level, right? Essentially a trend line. So 108K confluent with your spider line, massive, massive macro levels that we must get above. And to be honest, when I look at this, I look at it more from a volume profile perspective because that's actually looking at the volume and giving you a better idea of, like, of course, getting accepted into the value, right? Like, the real reason I want to get above this is not just because you have the spider line there, but it's really, we want to get out of this value. We do not want to get accepted into this. We do not want to come down to this POC. But as long as you remain below that $108,000 level, these targets are on the board, right? So 108K, guys, we got to get above that. So if we do push, I'll give you like 2 or 3 of the biggest levels. 108K, obviously, I'll turn that off, pull up our upper range here. Above that, you have about 110 to about 112.5. This is the next biggest level, right? So we come up, hopefully we can get above 108K, and then once you get above 108K, this is the level to break. Once we get above here, $112,500. We have a lot of liquidity sitting above this wick at 116K. That's where we can start saying, hey, maybe we can get a bigger push through this profile. And then at that point, you really just have the golden pocket, or if we crack above that liquidity, right, you only have the 786 in the value area high above. And then once we start getting up there, that's where we can start questioning, like, well, hey, at least now we're inside the upper value, right? You have your upper value and you have your lower value. Right? The whole reason this is so important is because we want it to stay in the upper value. We do not want to get accepted into this lower value because oftentimes you will see the fulfill of that range. But on the flip side of that coin, once you start flipping this value area low POC and more importantly the 786, now you're potentially getting accepted into this profile, which would call for a likely fill at, into the value area high. And then 786 is the doorway to new all-time highs. But you could see massive, massive level. So I would say 108,000, and then this zone up here is the next biggest level. Call it 109.7 to 112.670, 112.613. That's the next biggest level. Once we get above there, I start to feel a bit better because we're back inside this value, and we can at least just work within this range. But right now, we're still below 108K. So do I think that we could come up there? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's very hard. Like, I wouldn't even say that, like, especially the bounce that we're seeing right now. I mean, I hope I'm in the long position, so I hope it shoots up there. But to be honest, right, like, looking at your money flow, like 2 hours chopped, 90-minute attempting to come out, 80-minute attempting to come out. You have your 2-day in the red. I can't guarantee it, right? I can't guarantee it. I mean, maybe if I had a cleaner 4-hour money flow wave, right, like this 4-hour money flow is not even trending up. If this was cleanly trending into the green, I could say, well, hey, maybe we can see a continuation up. But I would say, 108K and then call it 110 to 112.5, 112.6. Those are the 2 biggest levels of resistance to get above. Plain and simple. It's very hard for me to say that we're going to go up there from here. It's just not on the chart, right? Like, I just don't see it on the money flow. Like, even your 6-hour just trending out smoothly, your 8-hour money flow, just super choppy. 10-hour money flow in the red, 12-hour money flow back in the red, 16-hour money flow back in the red. So you really need to see. I wouldn't say there's a reason for me to necessarily expect this today or tomorrow, right? Well, we'll have to see. Maybe we get a little bit of a bigger push up, gives some time for this money flow to roll back up. But as of right now, it's like, as long as we remain below 108K, guys, I remain very suspicious of lower prices. Plain and simple, right? This level is something we've been looking at forever. And now we're just below it, right? You can even look at this as somewhat of a bearish retest. Didn't actually come up and tap the level, but you attempted to get back out and you couldn't. Because it's not just the 108K level, right? It's also, you had this value area low that was overlapping. And again, you had the spider line coming through there as well. So it was a zone. So simple perspective, $108,000. If you're not a trader, if you're not looking for the intermediary levels to catch day trades, that's the level to get above. Once we get above there, I'll start talking about 112K. If we can flip that, that starts to feel a little bit better. Right? It's just simple auction market theory, guys. Price likes to seek fair value. Price always seeks fair value, right? So you have a volume profile here, POC in the middle. There's fair value, right? You could just think of this as the fair price for Bitcoin. And then let's just say, you were ranging around here, and then you got an impulse to the upside, right? So then you have a previous value area down here. This is fair value. This is fair value. This is imbalance, right? And you could also replace fair value with balance, right? Price is balanced. Buyers and sellers agree on this price range, right? So price does one of two things, right? It's either balanced or it's imbalanced, right? So this is the whole idea of auction market theory, right? When price becomes imbalanced, it will seek out fair value, right? It's like, oh my God, I need fair value. And it's very likely to get attracted to the next closest previous area of value. So when we range around in that upper range that we have on Bitcoin, that we're now out of, right? Now we're back in the lower range. You want to stay in here, right? Because once you imbalance out, right, or you impulse to the downside or trend to the downside, this is imbalance. When price is imbalanced, it wants to seek out fair value. And if it's not going to seek out the previous fair value that it was in, which we do see oftentimes, deviation below the low, rotation back to the high. Deviation above, rotation back to the low. Deviation below, back into the highs, right? That's oftentimes what we see. But if you do not get that and you decisively imbalance out of this volume profile, it's going to seek out that fair value. And if it gets accepted into that fair value, guess what? It's going to start rotating in there, right? So that's the whole idea, right? That's why, right? So like in this case on this fake drawing, right? If we came down, we would be saying to ourselves, oh man, we want to bounce here and get back up in here. We do not want to get accepted in here. That's why this is like the 108K level. We do not want to, that's why we didn't want to get accepted in there. Right, because it's an area of balance, and these do have magnetic nature to them, right? It's the reason. It's literally the reason why we're able to trade these volume profiles, right? When we deviate below the low, back in, shoot up towards the PLC, back down to low, deviate, back in, rotate to the high, deviate above the high, back in, rotate to the low. Even in the most recent case on our local profile, of course, what did we have happen, right? You deviated above the high, you came back down, you went for the POC, and then you front ran it, right? But you tried to come back up. Deviation above the high, back in. Next likely place for price to go, POC. Once you lose the POC, back down to the low. This is us getting accepted into this lower value that we had, right? Imbalanced out, and then we come back down, back to the fair value, try to get out, fill the value, right? It'd be the same thing when we come to the downside. The hope is, if we do have to come back down here and test, that we can maybe deviate slightly, get back in, and then just stay in the fair value. But if we lose this fair value, right, aka lose this value area low, where's the next fairest price for Bitcoin? Well, it's going to be the fairest price within all of this price action, which sits at the PLC at $96,633. Right? Balance? Balance. We do not want to get accepted in here because the likelihood is that you'll fill the range. If we can get out of it, it's the same thing, right? If we get out of here, the hope is that you can get accepted back into this fair value and rotate this range again. And then hopefully break into all-time highs. But there is a lot of work to do, as we just mentioned. So that's the idea, right? So just very simply, 108K. If we do bounce, right, like you're going to have to fight all this before you even get up to 111K. But once we get above here, we can start talking about potentially getting up to 111 to 112K. All right, let's see. Pizza is real food. Shout out to Jesse. I would agree with that. Oh, my God. I just almost spilled this coffee everywhere. Shout out to Zaza Wick said 96K. I love steak as well. Rare with mushrooms and onions and gravy. Shout out to Jesse. Mushrooms and onions on steak is fire. I would agree with that. 80K next week. Shout out to somebody said, I forget who it was, X something. Shout out to X. If you're in the chat, bro, are you the one that said November 7th starts the bull market? I think you were. But then he said December 3rd, I think. So hopefully the second date is right. It's the best food. Shout out to Mystic Ruin. Pizza is definitely one of the best foods possible. Let's see. Let's just get above 108K. Shouldn't be too hard. Went up there before. Easy. Shout out to Sam Burger. Yeah, let's get above 100K. Yo, shut. Shout out to Jay Violet said, I don't even like pizza, and one of the mods hit it. They hit the chat. Bro, that is an act of terror right there. Shout out to Jay Violet. That's hilarious. Somebody got... I have a feeling that was Tyler. Pizza is good. You have to like pizza. Shout out to Jay Violet. Well, let's see. Shout out to D-Lo, says the noise gate on Frankie's mic he needs to be adjusted. Dude moves around too much for his noise gate to be set that tight. Yeah, you know what? I was actually thinking about this last night. I don't think I can adjust the pickup on this mic. It's just a tight mic. Like if I turn this way, you guys can barely hear me. You can barely hear me, and now you can hear me great. I think I'm gonna have to get a new mic because D'Lo, you're 100% correct. So yeah, I'm listening with earbuds and it's insufferable. Yeah, I know it's actually brutal. I'm actually gonna look into a new mic because I don't think I could change the settings on here. I've already tried. Yo, Erica, that's dirty work. Tyler's like, if you don't like pizza, get out of here. That was Tyler. Yes, shout out to Jesse. Tyler, that was hilarious. All right, let's continue on. We're going down big time. Shout out to FedBomb. Yeah, I wish I could just come up here and be like, how could you say that? But I can't. I'd have to say it's definitely in the cards. It's all love, bro. Yeah, shout out to D'Lo. You're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. Trust me. I watch back my videos and I noticed that issue. Maybe I'll do that tonight. XRP ETF tomorrow. Shout out to Ali or Ali. I think it's Ali. Yeah, XRP. We'll take a look at some of the altcoins here real quick. Taking a look at XRP. Come on over to the altcoin chart. All right, listen. I'm just gonna do this, right? Are they getting launched tomorrow, or they're gonna announce them tomorrow? I'm just gonna bring you back to Bitcoin. Just be prepared, right? If it was as easy as saying there's a bullish news event on this day, I will buy when that happens, and price will go up. How could that? And it's logical. I get it. It's logical. Bullish news. I'm gonna buy. That should be good for price. I wish it was that easy, right? I wish it was that easy, and you could just look at the Bitcoin ETF approval, right? And it's not to say that this would be bullish long-term, and that's what we talked about when we were up here, but I was cautioning heavily against some kind of a big correction coming off that news. And literally, the announcement was the tippy top, right? Actually saw some pretty reputable people calling for just, like, breakouts here, and I'm just like, maybe I'm missing something? But no, right? The news comes out, and you get the correction. So you just have to understand that, right? Maybe it winds up being good long term. The problem I have with this is the timing, right? Like maybe that triggers the alt season or something like that. But you just don't have everything lining up perfectly. Like here it was great, right? Because you get the ETF announcement, you get the drop, right? But you also have the halving coming up and what you would expect to be a bull market ahead of you. We're in a different spot in the market right now. So I would just be careful with that. Maybe you get the announcement, it just shoots up. I'm not saying that can't happen. It's just way less likely or way less common for that to be the case, especially when the news is expected. It's a simple rule of thumb. If the news is expected, it is very rare that when it just gets priced in, right? It's the simplest way to think about it, right? Like you hear the rumor, it gets the hype, that pushes price up. That is the market pricing in that news, right? And then on the announcement of the news, everyone who bought the rumor is then taking profits, right? And then you have all the retail or all the people who are not as informed or educated, or I would say informed, they're buying in thinking, oh my God, bullish news, let me buy, right? And then they're the exit liquidity for people who are buying the rumor. So unless the news is completely unexpected, it's more often that like when the news is completely unexpected and it's announced, that's where you get like crazy big pushes up or pushes down. And 99% of the time, I would say, regardless of if the news is announced or not, right? Like the charts are just going to keep you on the right side of it anyway. So, and for me personally, right? Like if I saw on XRP that we had a massive bullish setup technically, then I would say, hey, maybe we're going to get good news or something and it's going to carry us higher. But looking at this chart, look at your money flow. 3-day money flow just crossed over into the red. 4-day money flows in the red. 5-day money flow just crossed into the red. 6-day money flow is coming out aggressively. Weekly money flow is also coming out pretty aggressively. So sure, these green dots can push you up. Maybe it gets a little bit of a bounce, but you still have a lot of work to do here to just push up. And if it was just as easy as like, oh, the news comes out tomorrow, we're going to pump on that day, right? Like trading would be so easy, right? You just keep an eye on the news, wait for the news to come out and then buy it. But I just don't have any super, super bullish setups here. It's not like our high time frame money flow is like just starting to cross over into the green. Maybe the 4-day rolls back up. We'll see how it develops over time. But I would just be careful with that. And trust me, I hold a lot of XRP, so I hope that it does moon, right? I don't have any reason to like want XRP to go down or just say it's going down if the charts aren't calling for it. Like I'm just bringing the information on the chart, and I just don't trade news. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So just be careful. As far as the chart goes, right, we're still just kind of hanging around this POC. We got the rotation, lost the high, got the big liquidation wick to come in, but essentially got loss of the high into the POC. Little rough road, right? But you lose the POC, you go to the value area low. We then bounce off the low. Next likely place for price to go is the POC, and we're kind of just grinding around up here on this point of control. At the end of the day, this is the edge of the fence. Flip the POC, value area high is in the cards, right? Sitting between, I would call it, between the anchored VWAP at 265 and the value area high at 272. The overall zone sits between about 264 and 280. Flip the POC, remain above it. That is in the cards. If you lose the POC and you cannot, well, we have lost the POC, right? If you cannot reclaim this POC, right? Next key level of support for me would be at that value area low 786 Fibonacci 786 Fibonacci retracement, right? Which was this actually tapped? It wasn't this 786. I think it was a macro 786, so I won't even bring that up. I'll just keep the value area low here. Could try to pull this local fib. Yeah, I mean, you have the golden pocket 786 here, but again, right, it's like even if you bounce here, same rule applies, right? You still have to flip that POC in order to have those higher prices open up. So I would just be looking POC, value area low with the biggest key levels. If you could flip this, opens the door to the value area high, slash anchor VWAP, slash 786, slash value area low of the previous range. Can't get above the POC, could be headed back down to that value area low. And to be honest, we technically front ran this value area low by a couple dollars. Oh, that 786 is there. Couldn't even see it. Where's the 786 pulled from? I thought it was a bigger 786. Yeah, it's this full 786. So those are the biggest levels. We're just kind of chopping around within the range. So we'll see, right? It's still for me on XRP. It's like I want to get above here, flip this value area low to support, get above the 786. Then we can look for a bigger rotation through the profile and then approach this, look at the situation and reassess as we push into resistance. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on XRP. Taking a look at the daily. Red dot looking to print on the daily. So we're going to come on down to the 80-minute and the 90-minute, which are 80-minute is trying to cross over into the red. 90 minutes just totally wonked out. Man, money flow, man. I mean, can't blame money flow, right? Like this price action is just like hard for money flow to stay consistent there. Just super, super choppy. But let's see. Chainlink. Shout out to Chris. We'll take a look at Chainlink. No problemo. Shout out to Gen Z. Said I'm gonna wash y'all windshields this summer. Shout out to Gen Z. Picking up the side jobs in the bear market, baby. Shout out to Mr. B. Said, how is money flow calculated? I've tried to ask CryptoFace. Understandably, he didn't want to share. But I figured I'd try. I'm not 100% exactly sure how this is calculated. One thing I can tell you that is a fact is that more often than not, when you get these money flow crossovers, they are indeed very, very important, right? All right, like what did we see here on our last rotation, last big push to the upside? Let's just take a look at what the chart looked like. All right, well, hey, you have some kind of a volume profile here. Right, you go from the low, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high, hold the POC, hold the POC, hold the POC. What's your 2-day money flow doing? Big red wave crossing into the green. That money flow crosses into the green, indicating that the trend up can continue, and indeed, it was more of just a rocket ship rather than a trend to the upside. Do we have anything similar to this popping up on the chart right here, right, indicating a massive move up? Well, let's look at the 2-day money flow. Somebody tell me. Do we have the same thing happening? We do not, right? We obviously do not. We have money flow coming to the red, bing bong, green, red, green, back in the red. You can argue, right, if you ignore the wick at least, to the bodies of your candles, you do have a 2-day bullish divergence into almost your value area low. But again, the 2-day bullish divergences, a 2-day bull div with money flow coming out is not the same thing as a 2-day bull div with money flow coming up. And I actually don't think we had a 2-day bull div here. Yeah, you did not, right? But you still had your money flow coming up, right? We don't have any of that, right? We don't have, I mean, technically you have the bull div to the bodies of your candles, but even if you have that bull div, right, even if it did tap directly into the value area low, right, money flow is just trending against you. So I would still be looking at that as a lackluster bounce for lower highs and lower lows, right, until that money flow yanks back up into the green. So there you go, right? Like you could even look at like something like the weekly money flow. What do we have here? And, like, you could actually see this, right? It's not just, like, after price moves up that the money flow crosses over into the green, right? You could see this. Money flow in the red starts to trend up, right? Starts trending up way before. I know it's kind of hard to see here, right? But it starts trending up as you're getting this bounce, right? And even from this low to this low, you're trending up. Price is coming down. Money flow is trending up. Crosses into the green, indicates the big move up. We don't have that, right? We have money flow literally in the green, trending down. So there you go. I'll just leave that there. But those are the key levels I'll be looking at. Trying to find a case here. Now, I guess one of the bullish cases, I don't know if I call it bullish, is money flow is choppy, right? So like maybe you do get a fake out, right? But I just not something I would bet on. I'm always going to take the indicators at face value. So there we go. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum, or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. Let's take a look at it over here. This is our main ETH chart. So same thing, right? No update here on Ethereum. We've bounced off the golden pocket. You know, goal here is to get above your 3530 value area high. If we could flip this to support, still going to be looking at that same target we talked about yesterday between about 3767 and 3840. You have your anchored VWAP confluence in there. But again, right, even to entertain the idea of coming up here, I'm not looking up here until we get above this level, right? Because until we get above there, we've already tried to come up, couldn't get out. Tried to come up, couldn't get out. If we can't get out of here, probably headed lower into the profile. The next key level down below locally is going to be the daily MPOC that we have just below this wick, which I have to pull up over here. What is it? $3,029. So let me just mark that out real quick. Let me pull up the daily. So we do have a daily MPOC at about $3,029. So if we did come back down, like we looked at yesterday, let's say we come up, we can't get back out of this profile. If we lose this golden pocket, that's your next key level of support, $3,029. If we get the push down there, something I will be looking at, very similar to how we predicted the second drop on Bitcoin earlier today. Come on. There we go. Right, just how we predict this move down, right? You have the big anchor wave. And I just can never unsee this. Anytime I see a momentum wave like this with the VWAP coming down, all I can see is the possibility of forming a bullish divergence, which would call for a break of the lows, which, of course, is exactly what we saw happen, right? Before we got a little bit of a pop to the upside, just getting swallowed back up again. But it's the same thing over on Ethereum, right? If we do get that drop down, obviously this is on a much higher time frame. You know, I'll look at it on the 12-hour, right? If we do get that push down, you could get the lower low on your price action. If we can get a higher low here on the 12-hour, on some of these higher time frames, 12-hour, 16-hour, even potentially the daily, could look for the daily bull div there for another bounce. But again, like inside the profile, I never really get excited about bounces into a value area high, right? It's much better, in my opinion, to be short, looking for the continuations down through the profile. Even on the pushes up, right? You're short, and you're looking for the continuation down. So that's what I look at, $3,029. Once you lose that, guys, I'm going to be looking down towards our next 786 daily MPOC confluence. Let me just get that MPOC so I can pull it up on the chart, 2817. Sits right here, right? Between 2817 and 2728. So if we come down, just say bull div, hopefully you get the bounce. If not, if you can't reclaim this zone, I'm looking down here. Plain and simple. Daily money flow coming out. 2-day money flow about to cross over into the red. I mean, that's just like, yeah, it's like I have a boss, guys. My boss is the charts. I cannot say this looks good. It just objectively does not look good. So there you go. Those are the next supports I'd be looking at. Key level of resistance, 35.30. You get above there, we can maybe push into about 37.77, into about 38.46. And then once we reclaim these levels, we could talk about higher prices. But mark my words, as long as we remain below 35.30, I'm not very hopeful, right? We have to flip here for me to start feeling a little bit better. So there you go. Very simple level. Let's take a quick look at Link. Shout out to D-Lo, said the show should be called Only Candles. Best crypto TA on YouTube, hands down. Shout out to D-Lo. I appreciate you. Best TA, not the best audio. Shout out to D-Lo, bro. I appreciate you, man. And actually, I would call it not only candles, but maybe Frankie's candle. Never mind. Anyway, somebody gave me a very funny Christmas gift one time. I won't say what it was. It was a picture of something interesting named Frankie's candle. Anyway, all right, let's see. Hopium range before the drop to bring in the real copium. Shout out to Hopium Copium. Let's go, brother. Let's go. Welcome in, man. Vegas Call says, what do you mean? That's a beautiful chart. It just has baby oil. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Oh, God. Here come the Diddy comments. Make it only candles to get 1 million subs. Shout out to Mickey. It might help. I already do the live streams with no bottom on. I have no pants on. I've never worn pants one time on this live stream, guys. Of course, because you guys can't see under the table. I'm just kidding, YouTube. I'm fully clothed. It was a joke. Mikey says, it is catchy, man. Only candles. So catchy. Only candles. Maybe we should call the Discord Only Candles. But anyway, let's continue on. Let's take a quick look at Link, guys. Actually, I think I have a Link chart here. There she is. Let's take a look. Whoops. All right, so Chain Link. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to give this to you nice and simple. Volume profile. Deviate the highs, back to the POC. Lose the POC, back to the low. Lose the low, back in. Flip the low, POC is next. Flip the POC back to the value area high. Magnetic rotation, overvalued. Back into the range, can't get out. POC, lose the POC value area low. Deviation below, get back in. POC, very turbulent, but you remain inside the range. Value area high is next. Magnetic rotation. Deviate above the high. This is expensive. Back into the range. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. What happened to all the other times back here, right? You come down to the POC, you get a bounce. Oh, my God, it's bullish, right? Well, volume profile sucked you back down. You bounced. Let me get rid of some of these. Brushes. You get down to the POC. Oh, my God, this is bullish, right? You just rotate the range, right? So we're down at the POC. If we lose this range here, guys, or this zone, I should say, 2 daily naked points of controls and the POC of the range, if we can't get the bounce from here, and even if we do bounce from here, you got to be careful of lower highs and lower lows, very similar to back here, right? Oh, bullish, right? Not necessarily. What do we have back here on the daily? Money flow in the red. From the high to the POC, oh my God, bullish. Money flows in the red. Continuation down. If money flow is in the red, you look for a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low. Where is that lower high likely to come in at? Well, I think everybody knows we're going to look at that Fibonacci retracement. Where's the lower high come in here? Right on that golden pocket. High, low, lower high, right on the place you would expect it for the lower low to come in, targeting the value area low. So same situation here. This is support. You could bounce. But does that mean that you're going to bounce to new all-time highs? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So let's pull our fib here from the low. Whoops. From this low to the high, right? Very important level. We already lost the golden pocket, so I'll take that off the chart. Right? So you have your 786, your POC, and 2 daily naked points of controls. Just because it's a 786 does not mean this has to be a low high, higher low for a higher high, right? It could be. It would be a place you would look for the higher low. However, look at your money flow in the red. That would make it more probable that you're looking for lackluster bounces, lower highs, and lower lows. Very similar to what happened here, right? You could even maybe argue, maybe not, you probably don't have a fib or tracement here. Maybe you did. Pull it from this higher low to the high. Yeah, you probably would have been arguing here, oh my God, 786, right? Higher low, higher high. Well, money flows in the red. You're probably going to look for the lower high, lower low. So if you get the bounce here, the biggest level of resistance to get above, in my opinion, would be, it's going to be right above the value area high, isn't it? Let's pull it from this lower high. Yeah, so I would say this is probably the biggest level to get above. It's not the last level, but even if you get a bounce, even if you get a bounce, this would be a big level to watch. All right, so if you get something very similar to this, right, it could play out something like that. I'm not expecting it just because the fractal looks like that. It's based off money flow. It's based off the volume profiles, but it's just a very similar situation. Right? Could play out something like that. And eventually targeting the value area low. Right? So you're at support. Hopefully we can bounce. But again, money flow does not make me feel super good about that. Even locally, right? That daily money flow is just tanking. And you have the red dot about to print too. Right? So it's not like, yeah. You get the red dot printing, probably going to give you an ever flow to the downside, and you have your money flow coming out, indicating the overall trend will continue. Right? So biggest levels of support down below. Lose 1326. I'm looking down towards the value area low zone, where we have a weekly, a daily, 2 daily MPOCs, a daily level, and the value area low. Right? So that's the volume profile. Value area low sits at 1110. POC sits at 1427. And then your value area high / Fibonacci confluence sits at about 2060. Once you start breaking out of the value area, then we can start to talk about maybe coming up and messing with this stuff and potentially getting a bigger move up. But money flow is not pointing towards that. If I had money flow, look at the 2-day. 2-day just crossed over into the red. What happened last time we got to cross over into the red? Well, we got the continuation. It's very similar. It's like almost the same exact situation, right? Money flow is coming out. It crosses into the red, lower high, lower low into the value area low. You get down to the POC, money flows in the red. Are we going to get the lower highs and the lower lows into the value area low? It just looks eerily similar. So that's what I'd be looking at. That's the range. Not until we break out of here that I'd feel good. I would just treat this as a typical volume profile until proven otherwise. And treating this as a typical volume profile would be to eventually look for the push down here. So that's what we're looking at on Link. Let's see. TARS, yeah, we could take a look at TARS, no problemo. W and M pattern forming on the chart is a joke. Shout out to Hopi. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Tales of Mystery said, how do you size when scaling? Do you enter a trade at once, or do you allow the trade to go in your favor and start scaling gradually? Shout out to Tales of Mystery. I don't know if you're talking about scaling in or scaling out, but it depends on the situation. Sometimes I take one entry. Sometimes I look to ladder in on my entries. But more often than not, like I would say about 80% of my trades, I am taking multiple take profits. So let's just say I take a long down here. All right, let's just say I long the value area low, and I'm looking to come up to the value area high. Right, almost all the time I am scaling out, taking multiple take profits across my trades. Right, so I'll go from my entry, first target for the volume profile is going to be the POC. This is typically where I'm taking some kind of a partial take profit and moving my stop loss to break even, giving me a guaranteed winning trade. Even if it goes against me, I will stop out in profit. And then once I get above the POC, second take profit would be at the value area high. And then at this point, I am saying to myself, well, hey, what does money flow look like? If money flow is coming into the green, I could look to hold a kind of like a moon bag, right? So I could take like, say, 20% out here, 30% out here, hold the rest for a potential bigger continuation up, all dependent on what money flow looks like once we get up there. In this case, you had money flow coming up on the 2-day, so you could be looking for a higher low and a higher high. So in this case, not that I traded Link here, but if I did, I'd probably be holding up, the rest of that position for potential extra gains, right? And it's a risk-free position. At that point, my stop loss is either at break even, or most of the time, it's even in profit, right? Below like previous swing lows. So that's how I scale out of a trade. And then scaling into a trade, it's probably a little less common. I don't scale into trades as much as I scale out of them. Like scaling out of them is something that I do almost every time. Scaling into them is like it's situation to situation. It depends on the actual setup. Let's see. Shout out to Holy One. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. He says, have you tried using NAMI indicator faster than MCB? Shout out to Holly One. I have not tried that. Maybe I'll take a look at it though. NAMI, interesting. I'll check it out. Is it similar? Is this like a momentum indicator? Let me know. Frankie, yo, shout out to Vegas Call. Said Frankie's VTech just kicked in, yo. Shout out to Vegas Call. Okay, let's move on to the next altcoins. Let's take a look at TARS. Just start bouncing off the rev limiter. All right, let's see. Actually, I already have a TARS chart here. Let's take a look. All right, so Yeah, holding. We did end up pretty much almost filling this wick in full. So you got the monthly MPOC down there. You can get rid of this. This is old. Yeah, already lost that. Not good. Not good. All right, you guys remember last time we looked at TARS before all the liquidation stuff. This was the major key level, right? We had it marked off as key. Once you lose that 786, it's like you start to get suspicious. This 786 is pulled from the low to the high, right? So like if you're looking for a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, you're praying for the bounce here, right? That's why we have this labeled key. It's not just some magical random level. It's because it's the 786 fib. What happens? You lose it. Obviously, we get the massive liquidation wick, and then these candles come in to fill that wick, right? Monthly MPOC is the only level we have down here. Now, this is also tapped, by the way. So this is now not a naked point of control. It's a tapped monthly naked point of, or tapped monthly point of control, not naked point of control. 786 has been ran through like crazy. Take that off. High volume node, take that off. Daily's been ran through as well. This is the level, guys. I mean, if we lose this, there's nothing I can really look down to, right? So like 786 was key. We lost it. Wound up getting the big drop. This is now key as well. I just have nothing else to look down to, right? I could look at the daily. I could say, well, you got a daily level down here, right? So, you know, technically that's there. So it's not all lost if you lose this monthly MPOC, but you're hoping for a quick reclaim for a massive move up. But you also have massive resistance up here as well. I could pull this fib down a little more. I'll just leave that there, right? Like value area low POC up here is your next major key level of resistance. I actually just deleted the anchored VWAP, but let me pull that back up. If I pull this to the high, hopefully this is not confluent with that value area low. Of course it is. So this is your next big level of resistance. I mean, you need a big pop up to get up there, which could be the case. But, I mean, your last level here is sitting at about 0.025. If you start losing that, it's very difficult for me to start pulling new levels, right? Because I just can't look left. There's just nothing here, right? The only thing left here is a daily level. No weekly, right? Like the weekly is really here on the NPOC, and it's already been tapped. So I'm not even going to mark that out. And then the only other thing I can even pull is potentially fib extension levels. Whoops. Which, I mean, not helpful whatsoever. I could try to pull, like, different fib levels. I mean, I could try to pull it from this high to this low. These levels might have been respected. So you did have a Fibonacci extension in here. So, I mean, this is your big zone. I mean, I would say the daily is the only level underneath you, 0.02513. But you can look at this as kind of like the big zone, right, that had the monthly MPOC in it. And then, like, once you lose this zone, the only other thing I can say is that you have 0.014, you have this little Fibonacci extension. That's all I can really look at. So you're really hoping to hold on here, right? You do not want to lose this level at 0.025. Big level there. Let's see. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Said, pull this fib now a little more. Frankie's candle. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Would be nice to see what we have going on with it a little more locally and have some more relevant levels to watch because of the macro VP above. You won't be in the conversation for this. Won't be in the conversation for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I mean we're already really really far away from this. I mean the tangible levels, like the closer, more relevant levels, the only one down here is the daily at 0.025, and then above. Right, all I can really do here, and this is just kind of like a grind down, so it is kind of difficult to pull these levels, but, you know, we do have a little bit of value here. Let me just change the settings here. You do have a little bit of value right here. All right, this sits at about 0.054 to 0.069. Again, even that is pretty much out of the question. Not out of the question, but it's, like, pretty far away. So I'm just going to take that off just to clean it up. I already gave you the levels if you want to get it on your chart. But other than that, it's like there's just not a lot to look at here, right? Like even if I pull it up from a weekly time frame, right? You have your weekly here. You have a weekly here. That weekly's tapped. That weekly's tapped. That weekly's tapped. All these are taken. So you have 2 weeklies above you. You can check the monthly. No monthly levels. Check the MPOCs. You have a weekly MPOC right here. But, I mean, even from a low time frame perspective, it's like, yeah, I mean, this is just not something I would really be interested in trading at all. But I guess you could probably look at this, right? So you have your profile right here. So these would be a little bit more relevant for lower time frame stuff. You're just kind of tapping on that value area low. So your hope here for local strength would be to get back above this value area low, sitting at 0.037, right? If you can get a reclaim of this, maybe you can get a rotation back into that POC weekly naked point of control, which sits at about 4 cents. Flip that, you can look up towards like 4.5 up to 0.047, right, at that weekly. But this would be the local range. Value area low, 0.037. POC sitting at 0.041. Value area high sitting at 0.045. Those are the local levels that I would be looking at. But really the important level down here is that daily. You do not want to lose this daily on the higher time frames. Or from a higher time frame perspective, I should say. Take a look at the daily. Yeah, money flow looks like trash on the daily. 2-day money flow deep in the red. 3-day money flow deep in the red. You do have the green dots printing, but money flow not giving you the strongest indication of a massive move up. So, yeah, that's what I'll be looking at on TARS. Brutal chart. This is a brutal chart. And it kind of all started with losing that key level at the 786, which was right here. Knew we didn't want to lose that level. Shout out to AM. Said, Frankie, I'm talking about DOT. I asked a question about it a minute ago. Not TARS. We could try to take a look at Polkadot, no problem. Shout out to AM. Yeah, we could take a look at Zcash real quick. All right, so Zcash kind of just still floating around up here. Started to get, we put in a little bit of a top there. Let's check the weekly. I mean, weekly money flow thick in the green. You got the weekly red dot. Very hard, right, to pull any kind of significant level off this aggressive push up, right? Like your next big area of value is sitting all the way back down here, starting at about 239.32. Anchored VWAP from the low is also coming in there as well. So these levels all pretty much remain the same. Let me just pull this real quick. Like that range. I'm going to take this fib off. Yeah, I mean, this is really the only, I'll take these blue boxes off as well because we continue to push up. I mean, this is really the only area of value that I can find, right? Unless we go down to like a super lower time frame, we could start pulling some like micro levels like this. But overall, right, from a higher time frame perspective, not much to do here, right? If we pull back, this would be the big level to watch, in my opinion. We'll see that anchored VWAP will continue moving. So maybe this gets a little bit higher and we can start to look at some different levels, but let's pull from this low to the high. Yeah, just don't really have too much confluence. Right, you got a little 786 local confluence there, but I would say this is your biggest level of support. Anchored VWAP value area high, sitting at 254.14 to 238.45. If you don't get the pullback right into this level, well, probably just scamming to the upside. And if I were to try to find some next levels of or next targets to the upside, let's pull it real quick. So we're already have our first major fib zone, which is proving to be strong resistance. I would say your next target, if it does continue up, is going to be between about 823 to 946. But if you lose this fib range, right, or this fib zone here, I would hope for a pullback into here, right? That'd be the biggest key level. So 254.14 to 238.45, and then, yeah, I mean, next target's up here about 825.23 to 945.01. I would just be kind of sitting on this, right? Waiting for it to make a move. I'd be interested in, not that I'm interested in trading Zcash, but I'd be interested in shorts up here or potentially higher low long entries down there. But all dependent on money flow, right? Like weekly money flow is obviously cooking to the upside. Daily's pretty big in the green. You have some massive daily bearish divergences here. So if you did cool off, right, I would look down here. If you get accepted back into this range, depending on what money flow looks like when you come back down to test this, if money flow is coming out, right, on higher time frames, I'd probably be looking at something like the 4-hour, maybe even the 8-hour and the daily, right? At that point, it's like, say you get a retracement here and money flow starts coming out on the daily, that might be a good opportunity to catch a short to eventually get accepted back into the range and rotate back down to the lows. But it depends on what money flow looks like down here. I just don't know what it's going to look like. But this is, you know, alert 1, alert 2. Maybe I put alert 2 on the 786 here at 296. So zone 1, zone 2. Other than that, like, I personally wouldn't be chasing this. I would just be waiting for the next key levels to get tapped. So there you go. That's what we're looking at on Zcash. I mean, massive move off the lows there. Massive move. All right, let's see. Why can't the rich pump and dump all day, every day? Wouldn't that be great? Giving back. Shout out to Genius. Time to sell Zcash? I mean, listen, depending on where you're in. I mean, I'll just say this. If I was long from Zcash down here, there's no reality that exists where I am not at least partially out of that trade. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. But of course, right? Like, if you are in the green, right, don't let that, if you were holding Zcash from down here, don't let that greed get a hold of you, right? Even if it's going to continue up, you don't have to sell the whole bag, right? I'm not telling you what to do. It's not financial advice, right? But for me personally, right, there's no reality that exists. Even if I was buying the breakout, right? Like, what is that? Yeah, I mean, it's like, at that point, you know, it's kind of silly not to take any money off the table there. For me, right? Who knows? If you want to just YOLO hold it forever, just understand you might be at risk of holding it all the way back down. Got to pay yourself when you're in the green because you will very quickly be in the red if you don't. Shout out to Vegas Call said, Dan Pena helped me understand something. He said, Bitcoin is going to effing zero. Shout out to Dan Pena. It's one of my favorite people on earth, guys. If you do not know who Dan Pena is, look up Dan Pena compilations and enjoy. He's a savage. I love that guy. I honestly think more people nowadays need a father like him. I'm just going to say that. I don't agree with him with Bitcoin going to zero, but he's a wild man. Shout out to Dab and Flow said, with your level of understanding, do you not look at Zcash as a nice shorting opportunity? Do you not like to approach this because of the bullish momentum seems manipulated? Shout out to Dab and Flow. I would say it does seem very manipulated, but no, I would actually say if I were interested in anything here, I would have to be interested in a short, right? Because I mean, it really depends, right? There's so many things that go into this, right? Like, if I were down here on the 15-minute time frame and I was looking for a long from down here, maybe back up to the high of this local range, right? Like, maybe I can look for that to potentially play out in a bigger way, like long the value area low, look to go to the POC, and then maybe flip that and go higher. But for me personally, right, like something up this much, this is always, you know, anytime I look at this, right, from a general perspective, it's like, should I buy this up here? Probably not. Right? Like, to me, right, I've missed this move. And I've covered this so many times on, like, Bitcoin, like, even locally, right? Like, over the past few weeks, right? Like, I come up here, everyone's really excited about the push up, and I always have to talk about the potential opportunity to continue down, right? The only thing I can look for up here is shorts. And I would never, like, at this point, this is never a place where I would enter a long position. Right? Doesn't mean that it can't continue up. It's just never where I would enter a long position because at that point, right, what's your risk to reward there? Right? Well, if I enter a long here, first off, you've already missed the move, right? You have to at least wait for some kind of a retracement to get in, or you just miss the move, right? If I long up here, where's my stop loss go? Right? Well, first off, where's your next target, right? Well, our next target here was about 107K. If my stop loss goes below this high or low, that's literally less than a 1 risk to reward, right? So it's like a 50-50 risk to reward. And then if you put it below the swing low, right, like it's just like a terrible opportunity to enter the trade. What I would much rather do is wait for a retracement and then take a long and then target 107K. Now you have a beautiful risk to reward. You're risking way less than you're potentially willing to or able to gain, right? Now, it doesn't mean you're always going to gain that much, but it's just you missed this move, right? And every time I say that, it's like we always come on here and I'm like, well, this is why I don't long the tops. This is why I don't long the tops. This is why I don't long the tops, right? Am I longing here? No. We had a short setup in the premium here, but even if it's pumping, it's like I'm oftentimes not looking for longs as price pushes up, right? I'm always going to be looking for the opposite end of things, even if I think it's going to continue up. If my bias here is money flow is coming up, we're going to continue to the upside, I am still not going to long here, right? Because even if money flow is coming up, I'm looking for a pullback, a higher low, and then a higher high. Wasn't the case here, obviously. But even if it was, right, I'm not going to long it here. I'm either not going to long it, not going to short it, and I'm going to wait to enter my long down here, or I'm going to short it here, ride it down, and then flip long on the area that I have my setup on. So it's the same thing on Zcash. It's just this is just never a place where I would look to buy, right? Like I look at Zcash, and a lot of my normie friends made this mistake last Q4, right? They were like, oh my God, all my other altcoins are not moving, but XRP is moving. Should I buy XRP? And I'm like, dude, look at this chart. You are literally going to sell something that you're down on to chase something that you've missed. And again, it's not to say that it can't go higher, right? But, I'm always, as price goes up, like I look for shorts on the way up and longs on the way down. This is just never a place. So I would say, if anything, I'd be more interested in shorts. Not that I'm shorting this at all. You just still need the setup and everything. But, I'd probably be more inclined to be looking for shorts up here rather than looking for longs, unless we get a pullback, right? If we get a pullback, I'm not looking to short it here, right? Yeah, you got to short it on the highs, right? The only time I would look for a long here is if you get some kind of a sizable retracement and you get the confirmations and money flow is headed in the right direction. But I would be looking for the longs on the drop down, right? Not on the push up. So, shout out, I forgot who said that. But yes, 100% I would be looking at that for potential short opportunities. Let's see. Buy gold and silver. Shout out to, I don't know how to say your name. Shout out to PH. Yeah, obviously gold and silver ripping. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Panda the Prophet. Says, screenshots, take it or leave it. Honestly, like one of the most accurate, arbitrary ways to take profit on your crypto, guys. If you take a screenshot, you should close your photo app and go directly to your exchange and take some money off the table. I've been a victim of that. Screenshot, the top. Oh my God, guys, look at this. I'm printing money. The top. Definitely not a bad thing. Dash, yeah, we could take a look at Dash. Let's take a quick look at Polkadot. Somebody wanted to see Polkadot. So, let's take a look here locally. Yeah, I mean, you're just within your range here, which is really annoying because I have to pull it all the way down here. Let's readjust this. All right, so you are approaching your value area. You just barely front ran it. Very similar to Bitcoin, honestly. How's Bitcoin doing here? Is he trying to push back up? Come on, Pity. You can do it. You can do it. It's like wheezing. It's like it's out of gas here, guys. Come on, Biddy. Come on. Let's see here. Is trade back in the red yet? No, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. This year, Bitcoin has closed its tail, or it's chased its tail away. Time to get back in. Shout out to Jeff Gates. Not to be confused with Bill Gates. But let's take a look at Polkadot here. So, yeah, I mean, this is your range on Polkadot. Let's pull it up on the 4-hour here. Just readjust a bit. Actually, let's pull it up on the 1-hour. So, Let's pull a fib from the low to the high. So I would say this is pretty much your key support down below. You have your golden pocket retracement, your value area lows sitting between 286 and 275. If you cannot get the bounce from here, I would look for something like this. Push into the golden pocket. At this point, you have to reclaim to get into your POC and your value area high. If you lose this, next target is 100% going to be that 786 at about 260. Plain and simple. Money flow, market cipher B, 1 hour money flow coming into the red, 16-hour red dot confirmed, daily red dot confirmed, 2-day red dot looking to print, money flow in the red. I mean, look at this money flow. This money flow is just absolute trash. In the red, in the green, back in the red, 4-day money flow. 4-day money flow is like the only thing on a lot of these altcoins that is still just generally trending up. But then you go to the 5-day, it looks like trash. 6-day looks like trash. Weekly, attempting to come up. This money flow is really hard to make decisions off of right now, especially on the higher time frames. So these are the levels I would look at. Golden pocket value area low, 286 to 275 if we get another drop down. Once you do that, I mean, if we look at market cipher, we could try to see if there are any potential bullish divergences looking to form. Yeah, I mean, you don't have any bull divs down here, right? You have lower lows on your price, lower lows on your momentum waves, no 2-hour bull div, no 80-minute bull div. I mean, you don't even have 30-minute bull divs here. So what I would prefer, I can't unsee this. To me, if you get this next red dot on the 30-minute, if you could push down here and put in a 30-minute bull div into your key zone of support, that would be your next opportunity for a bounce to get back into the range and then push up closer towards that POC at 314. Little freebie there. That's what I'd be looking for. Red dot prints. Look at this momentum wave. If you can put in that lower low, you could eventually put in a 30-minute bull div. Now, a 30-minute bull div is not necessarily a sign for a moonshot, right? But it is your next opportunity for some kind of a local bounce. And you're going to have to fight that value area low. Once you flip that to support, maybe you can get accepted back in and push in towards your POC. I just don't know what money flow is going to look like once that forms. If money flow starts coming up, well, then maybe you can look for a bigger move up. If not, I would look for very lackluster bounces. But that's what I would look for. We'll see if we can get that to print here if we get that next red dot. So let's see. I'm actually going to set the alert here on Market Cipher B. If you did not know, you can set alerts here on Market Cipher B. Bada boom. Add alert. Market Cipher B. Crossing down 0 line. So once the once we get the VWAP to cross over this 0 line to the downside, we will get an alert letting us know that that red dot is printing, and maybe we'll see that low get cracked. This is almost exactly what I looked at on Bitcoin before. Like, almost identical. Like, quite literally. Come on, Bitcoin. Go! But yeah, it's like almost the exact same thing here. Right? You're kind of just like chopping around. Kind of just chopping around. I mean, even if you look at the 15-minute, you already had the bull div there. But on the 30-minute, right, you're just chopping around. Just chopping around. That red dot is about to print. That's what I look at to break the low. This is why I was letting everybody know in the premium. I don't like this. I'm looking for another low. Very similar here, right? What happens on Bitcoin? Red dot eventually prints. You break the low. You put in the bull div. So maybe we can get the same thing here on Polkadot. Red dot prints, puts in the bull div for another little bounce. But again, I wouldn't say that's like beautiful confirmation for a massive move. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Polkadot. Let's see. APT, shout out to Brillo. Yeah, we could take a look at APT. We have to have an APT chart. All right, well, unfortunately, we did have to come into our Fibonacci extension zones. I don't even remember when we looked at this. I guess it was on this little bounce. Had the golden pocket 786. Once you lose that, what are we looking at, right? You have your golden pocket 786 pulled from the low to the high. If you want a continuation up, you need to have support on the golden pocket 786 with money flow coming up. This is the 3-day. You run right through the golden pocket 786. Money flow is all in the red, not only on the 3-day, but also the 12-hour, right? 4-hour money flow crossover into the red. At that point, right, when you're looking at this chart from here, anyone who wants to learn how to actually make money trading, Is this a sign? What does this money flow tell you? And the reason I hammer this home so many times, guys, is because a lot of people don't trust the money flow. I'm not to say it plays out every time, but like just to show this. Because it's a very similar situation that we're in on Bitcoin on a lot of time frames, right? In this case, I could say there's support. There is a golden pocket and a 786. Is there an opportunity to put in a higher low and a higher high to continue that uptrend based off the Fibonacci retracement? Yes. But is there a high probability that that golden pocket 786 will give you a continuation up? Probably not, because the money flow is telling you the overall trend is going to continue down. So it's not that you can't look for bounces here. I don't think we even got one. But it's just you wouldn't expect that to be a big bounce, right? You would still be looking for lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows. And I think he just melted through this level anyway. So there you go. But we had our extension levels down here, which hopefully, we were hoping that wouldn't break, right? Obviously. I'll take these off the chart because it's ran through. Once you lose that 786, you're looking down towards the Fibonacci extension zones, which obviously wound up coming down and getting played with, right? Oh, no, I broke TradingView. Let me turn this off. So we're holding it. We're holding the zone overall, right? Pretty big zone, but also very hard to find levels of support when you can't look left, right? Just like nothing to look for. But now, as we've kind of developed some price action here, we do have a daily level right here. So I'll give you the key levels here on Aptos. There's your daily. That's about it. There's no weekly. See if we have any daily MPOCs. You have a daily MPOC here as well. You have a weekly MPOC. I'm just going to relabel this daily plus weekly. So you have a daily and a weekly MPOC and a daily horizontal. So this is really the only thing you have underneath you. You lose this fib extension level at 281. I mean, this is your last level. Daily and weekly MPOC sitting between 269 and 256. If we lose this, there's literally nothing else I can look down to other than this extension level at $1.67. Right? Hopefully we don't have to see that. But that's your key level of support. I mean, this is critical. Absolutely critical. Can't lose this. If you lose this, not a good sign. So there you go. For the most part, that's what I'd be looking at. And I will actually take off some of these extensions. So, yeah, that's the next key level. Other than that, your biggest level of resistance sits up here at about 428. Till we get back above here and flip this to support, I'd be very cautious. You don't really have any massive daily bullish divergences or anything like that. We have no major signs that we have a massive bounce incoming. You have your money flow coming out very clearly here on the daily. You have no bullish divergences. No real 2-day bullish divergences. Money flow coming out. 3-day money flow looks like trash. 4-day money flow might look good. Yeah, the 4-day for some reason is just totally like screwed up. Totally messed up. It's like the 4-day has just been like counter indicating every other time frame when it comes to money flow. Yeah, 5-day green dot printing. So hopefully you don't have to come down and test this stuff, guys. But if you do, that's your biggest level of support. 256. You do not want to lose it. If you lose it, only thing I can see on the chart is $1.67. So there you go. All right, guys. Let's see. Parachutes for sale. Shout out to Jeff Gates. Get your parachute, boys. We're going into free fall. No, I will say that, though. I mean, if you lose that daily, you might have to get your parachute out so you can land safely on that $1.67 level. But it ain't over till the level breaks. I jump without a parachute. Shout out to Servando Estrada. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Mr. B said, Frankie, can you take a look at CRV? I'm not a big Honda guy, but I'll take a look at CRV. No problemo. I'm just kidding. Actually, how could you hate on Hondas, right? They're a great car. Actually, one of my dream cars, guys, is a like 1,500 horsepower bubble Civic. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If not, you'll probably think it's an ugly car, but it'll be so fast you won't even be able to see it. All right, I don't know if we have a CRV chart here. Anybody have a fire bubble Honda with a laptop in the passenger seat? Please let me know. If it's for sale, please let me know. It's got to run, though. It's got to run. I'm not trying to buy a lemon here. But that would just be so sick. Anyway, all right, continuing on here. Maybe we should get a bubble Civic and make it a project car and make a second channel for the bear market so we could build a bubble Honda in the bear market. Frank, do you have a Lambo? No, I have a $250,000, 2,000 horsepower Honda Civic. Oh, man. Oh, man. Anyway, let's continue on here. Or a Supra. Does anybody like the new Supra? Do I have car guys in the chat? Any car guys here? I feel like the Mafia's got to be a good amount of car guys. Does everybody hate the new Supra? New Supra's kind of fire. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. I know it's not the old one. I know it's just a BMW. Thing's pretty sick, though. Thing's pretty sick. Smash my Honda Civic Type R. Yo, this Type R's kind of dope, too. Do it, man. I'd watch that. Shout out to Jeff Gates. Let's go. That'd be sick. When Civic. That's what you should be saying at this point in the market. When Lambo. Forget that. When used Toyota Camry. Fast and Furious 11, the Frankie Candles edition. We must get these candles to the wax factory, guys. Let's go. We're going to launch the cars into space. They look all right. Shout out to Daniel T. Yeah, I like them. I mean, it's not the Supra. That's obviously way cooler. Hate electric vehicles. Shout out to Silent Q. My soul hates electric vehicles, but I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't want to say it. It goes against my blood. Guys. I'm with you. I'm a car guy. I want blow-off valves. I want burbles. I want turbo spooling. I want revs. I want red lines. I want two-step. I want rolling anti-lag. I want all that. But if you've never been in a Tesla driving itself, it makes it real. I'm a big tech guy too. I love technology. It's really hard for me not to say that Teslas are sick. If you have not actually driven in one when it's full self-driving, I highly recommend you check it out. It's like it's unbelievable. I don't know if I would call it a cool car, but it's a cool piece of tech. Getting into a regular car after having a Tesla drive you somewhere is like going from a flip phone or from an iPhone to a flip phone. If flip phones had blow-off valves. It's like my soul wants to hate Teslas so much, but it's just so hard for me to sit there in a Tesla while it drives me somewhere and say it's not cool. It feels like forced hate. I'm not going to lie. Right? It's like, yeah, it's not that cool. It's like literally like backing into a parking spot. I'm like, yeah, it's not that cool. It's kind of stupid. It picks you up from if you walk out of a restaurant, you can hit a button and it will come pick you up with no one in the car. It would be forced hate for me to say that's not cool. Maybe it's cool. It's just not a cool car. Maybe that's what I'll start saying. It's cool. It's just not a cool car. It's a cool piece of tech. Anyway, I digress. But anyway, let's take a look here at CRV. Someone's just like, dang, man, I just want to see CRV. Shut up. I don't care about rolling anti-lag. Anyway. All right. Let's continue on. It's the same thing here, guys. There's no bull divs. You're at the value area low. If you lose this value area low, really the only thing. All right, we do have price action down here, so I could pull some of these. Volume profiles. So you got a little bit of a balance here. Down below, starting at about 31 cents. POC sitting at 28 cents. Value area low sitting at 24 cents. So all I can see here, here's your major value areas. Upper value, lower value, super lower value. Mini range, right? So the hope here is that you just stay within this volume profile. As long as you stay above this value area low at 41 cents, the doorway to the POC remains open at about 61 cents, right? So, deviate below the low, back in, flip the low, back to the POC, back to the value area high. Deviate the high, back in, POC, value area low, right? Now, the difference here is last time, anytime, we approach a value area low like this, what do we like to see, right, for a potential continuation up, right, or a bounce back to the other side of the value? Here you go. Daily bullish divergences, money flow starts trending up. So as this money flow trends up, I would even say to myself, well, hey, on this pullback from the POC, I could look for a higher low and a higher high. Why? My money flow is trending up, indicating the trend can continue to the upside. Where's the higher low come in at? Whoops. I'm just going to, it comes in right on the golden pocket. I can guarantee that, right? Golden pocket, 786, value area low. This is where you would be looking for the pullback into. And the reason you would actually look for a higher low and a higher high is because your money flow is trending up, right? And you have the bull divs at the low, marking a potentially significant bottom. Down here, you don't have any of that. You have lower lows, no bull div, right? And you have money flow coming out. So that's not necessarily what you want to see for a big move up. Just going to leave that there. But at the end of the day, as long as we stay above there, your doorway to the POC remains open. But I just don't know how high probability of fulfill this range is going to be based off your money flow. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. 4-hour money flow, it's choppy, trying to come back into the green. So I would just say if you lose, and look at that, 786 confluence right on your value area low. I saw Tony D come in and put the eyes emoji. Shout out to Tony D. Get out of here. Tony D is not even here right now. He was traveling today. But this is what you're hoping to hold. Once you lose this 786, I'm looking to take out this low and potentially head down to some of these lower levels. That's your next area of balance sitting at $31. I'm sorry, 31 cents. So this is kind of your last ditch effort, right? If you can't get the bounce from there, you lose this. I'm probably going to be eventually looking down here to 31 cents. So that's what I'd be looking at on CRV, not the car. Let's see. Get the Tesla bot as a driver. Tesla is amazing. Yeah, shout out to Perry. It's like, I don't know. I'm just like, I totally get where the Tesla hate comes from, especially from car guys, because it's literally where I come from. I grew up loving cars. My dad loved cars. It's like in my family. Like, I'm a big car guy. I get why people hate Teslas. I just can't force the hate. It's disingenuous. What kind of car should I get, guys? I'm looking for a car. I have to get a car soon. And I don't know. I have no guidance on. I have no guidance I can give anybody to help with the suggestions. Supra's cool. McLaren 570S is cool. Tesla low key cool. Not a cool car, but Mrs. Candles already has a Tesla, so I can just always drive hers whenever I want. It's really mine. I pay for it, but it's hers. Anyway, Bitcoin pumping. Yeah, well, I hope it just can't break these highs. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on, inverted head and shoulders. Come on, right? Inverted head and shoulders. Push me. Give me 103K. Give me 103K. Shoot through this low volume. Come on. Give me the push to the high volume node. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on. It's an inverted head and shoulders, guys. It has to work. It has to work. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it happens, though. Come on. Push through the low volume. Look at this. Look at that volume gap. Give it to me. Push me to the shelf. Push me to the shelf at 102.559. Come on. Give me something. How's the long doing? Just still sitting there. Come on. Push up, baby. Push up. You could do it. Come on, Biddy. Come on. Get a classic. I don't know. You should get a K truck. What is that? Shout out to McKay. Is that a truck that you make, McKay? If you buy it 102K, it'll go up faster. Should we just buy more? Should we try to pump it? Inverted head and shoulders, right? Inverted head, NAD shoulders, right? Shout out to Fox 3. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. I'm just going to take laxatives for the rest of the night. I have this one pattern that has made me quite a bit of money called F McDonald's. It's a head and shoulders that fails and prints an M higher, also translates to I inverted head and shoulders and W lower. Shout out to Sandard. Interesting. You got to make a tutorial video so I can watch it. Shout out to Sander. Get a 1978 C10 square body short box. I'm a simple man. Shout out to Jeff. Yeah, older GTR, dude. Oh my God, like an R32. That'd be sick. That'd be sick. I'd do that. Here's my thing. Like I said, I'm also like a pretty big tech guy. I don't know. It's like I feel like I would just miss the. I don't know. I guess the blow-off valve just kind of solves all that, right? I have to get both. If I get a car, like I really like the I'm not gonna lie, I like the McLaren 720S and the 570S, but the interior of those are trash. Absolute trash. I'm sorry. I don't even think the 570S has Apple CarPlay. So people will get like a cool older car. Maybe we'll get like an older car, and then I'll just get a Tesla too. Because then people ask me if I drive a Tesla, and I could say no. I'd be like, yeah, I drive I drive a Skyline, and they'll be like, wow, that's sick. And then I'll like secretly just be driving the Tesla, or the Tesla will be driving me secretly. Aston Martin DBS, that's fire. Get a Scat Pack. I used to drive before the Hellcats and the Scat Packs and all that stuff. I used to have a Charger RT with a 5.7 Hemi, which was pretty sick. It was my first car. That thing was sick. I loved that thing. Wound up breaking, but definitely not because I would drift around every corner that I saw. But it just broke, to simple wear and tear. No, you have to wait for the bear market and then the top of any rally, and it's time to short or sell longs. That's my go-to pattern. Shout out to Thomas. Come on, baby. Come on. Announcement about the sale. Shout out to Perry. We will be doing the sale for Black Friday. We're just trying to lock in the prices or the actual discounts. And I actually did. Tony sent me a tentative list. I'm actually supposed to look over it and approve it. I'm sure it'll be good. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys more information on that as soon as I get it. The deal will be happening, though, on Black Friday. Used to love the DB9. I mean, the other thing is, like, dude, C8 Corvettes are sick. I feel like the hate on C8s is forced, too. I get it. It's like fake supercar. But, like, dude, it's still a cool car. It's like, it's just like love how people like. I just feel like there's so much forced hate out there. I'm like a big fan. Like again, I hate Tesla, but I'm not gonna force hate it, right? I get the hate on C8s because it's like the thing I don't like about C8s is like it's such a cool car, but I just feel like I see them all over the place. I like not being. So the reason when I bought my Charger that I didn't buy a Mustang was because just like at the time everyone had a Mustang. I didn't want a Mustang. I just don't want a car that everyone else has. Inverted herp and dirt pattern. Shout out to Tony Roaz. The inverted bing bong. That's what we call it. What happened? Inverted head and shoulders. Bitcoin. Come on. Guys, the show's over, by the way. I forgot to say that. We're kind of just chilling here. We started talking about cars. I did not realize we've already been going for over 2 hours. Yeah, America was at its best. Cheap gas, huge engines, cheap smokes and booze. Shout out to Jeff Gates. Take me back. Take me back. Want an old Countach? You see the new Countach coming out? I think it's pretty sick, too. Call Satoshi to pump it. Shout out to McKay. I tried calling Satoshi last week, guys. He hung up on me. I got to give it a week or two or he's going to block my number. I tried. He's helped us out so much. C7 over the C8. Yeah, C7s are fire too, man. Listen, like that. What Chevy did with the C8 is insane, man. It's like to have a mid-engine vehicle like that at that price is wild. But again, I just see them all over the place, man. C5 with the pop-ups. Yeah, shout out to Vegas Calls are fire too. Shout out to Panda. The profits of the market's over. Might as well talk about cars. Maybe we'll just like. I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to buy a regular car online, but if I bought a Tesla, I could definitely buy it on stream. It's like when we bought Mrs. Candle's Tesla, we bought it on the app. It was like downloading an app, and they were just like, yeah, come in. We walked into the Tesla dealership. They gave us a piece of paper. I signed it, and we walked out with the car. It's wild. Yeah, to each their own. Absolutely. Rogan said the new Vet is the baddest car he's ever driven. Shout out to Dave Digital. He also likes his Tesla. He has a unplugged Tesla, which is like a souped-up Tesla. That's the other thing, too. Mrs. Candles drives around in a car, drives itself, and it also has like 500 horsepower. It's just when you hit the pedal, it's pretty underwhelming. It's like sucks you back in the seat, but it's just like, it's kind of lame. It's like, I don't know. It's exciting. It rips you back in the seat, but it is super underwhelming because there's just no sound. A 911? Yeah, 911 would be fire. 911 would be sick. Yo, shout out to Panda the Prophet said, everyone talking about cars like the market isn't about to tank. Get a Prius. Big car announcement, guys. I finally bought my car. It's a 2005 Nissan Altima. It's a female car. Shout out to Dari. I kind of feel that. Shout out to Dave Digital said he loves his Tesla. It's the fastest car he's ever driven. No, I would say the fastest car I've ever been in was I don't know what year. It was an old Trans Am with a Hummer swap. It had a Hummer engine in it. And it was, I don't know if it's because it was an older car, so it felt really fast. It wasn't my car. It was my, not even my friend's car. It was like a friend of a friend. Swapped it out for a Hummer engine. I was young. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I got in this car, and this dude started driving like a maniac. And we low-key got into a high-speed police chase. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, oh, cool. I like cars. Let's go ride. This guy was a lunatic, and he started just like driving on the highway like crazy. And a cop went to pull him over, and he goes, someone says, oh, the cops are behind us. And he goes, oh, no. And he just went for it. And we got into a high-speed police chase, guns out, everything. And I was like, I don't even know this guy. They're like, that's what they all say. I'm like, I swear. Oh, man. Having no noise totally disappoints me. Yeah, that's my big thing. It's like, even like the Plaids, right? Like, that thing is so fast. Like, if you drive a Tesla Plaid, it is the fastest car on the road. You're going to beat anything on the road shy of, like, a Supra with nitrous, right? Like, it's just so underwhelming. It's just so disappointing. It's just a different experience. I don't consider it a car. I consider it a piece of technology. I think talking about cars should be a top of the market signal. Yeah, shout out to Martin. Except we're not talking about it like, oh my God, it's going up. It's going to go up forever, guys. Let's all get cool cars. It's more of this market's super boring right now. Let's talk about cars. Hummer or Hemi? Hummer engine. I don't know what size it was. I think it was a 6-something Hummer engine. It was insane. Thing was like popping wheelies. Insane. I've never been in a police chase. That was the only time I was ever in a police chase. Crazy. Nothing happened though. I don't know if the kid knew the cops or something, but they were just like, "It's all right, man. Just don't let it happen again." I mean, I'm talking guns out, put your hands out the window type stuff. Not type stuff. That's what they did. It was terrifying. It's a spaceship. Yeah, there you go, Dave. It's much more of a Dave ship. Much more of a spaceship than a car. That is for sure. I have to counteract it. Like, if I have a Tesla in the driveway, I have to counteract it with something totally different. Whatever I get, when I start it, it's got to smell like something. Let's see. But yeah, guys, we've already been going. We're going for like 2 hours and 10 minutes. But I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream, guys. Just still holding the long here. Not a ton of confidence in this, I'm being totally honest. We'll see. Let me just pull up these local levels real quick. Yeah, we'll see. If we get a secondary drop to the downside, guys. I mean, the big level to get above, if we're going to see a bigger push to the upside, I want to see a claim of support on this daily that we have up here at about 102,241. Is that what it is? 102,249. If we could claim that, right, I would say maybe we can get the continuation up. Nothing really crazy, but just maybe a little push, bigger push up into about 103K into the anchored VWAP. If we could flip that, we could look up towards the value area high. But again, I am a little bit suspicious of front-running that 786 in the value area low. So if we come back down, that's the level to look at. Between 100,637 to 106,673 and $100,400. If we lose this and cannot reclaim, if it's not something like this, guys, where we can come down, reclaim, and get the rotation, I'll be honest, the next bigger level that I'll be looking down to will be those bigger targets down towards 96.6 and $94,000. So that is what I'm looking at here on the charts for Bitcoin, guys. But I will keep you updated here tomorrow if anything crazy happens. But we looked at the money flow coming out yesterday, guys. We got the continuation down. I'm going to keep that bias, and I am looking for lackluster pushes to the upside before looking for the bigger moves to the downside. Oh, I'm in bar replay mode here. Just make sure I'm not like totally behind on price. No. So yeah, we'll see what happens. 99 to 72. Shout out to Jeff Gates. Yeah, I mean, underneath $94,000, we have about $91,000. Underneath that, we have 85 to 82K. Under that, guys, I mean, long term, I'm not going to lie, guys. Higher time frame, this is not looking good for a big continuation up. As soon as something changes, I'll be the first person to let you know. You'll see me come up here with the long positions, but the long I'm holding right now, I'm not going to be surprised. I am treating it as a scalp and will not be surprised if I get stopped out. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's video. OBSY 60 is a Yukon Denali engine on the Hummer. Shout out to Vegas Call. That might have been it. Shout out to Mikasa. How long did it take you to be profitable? Way too long. Hopefully, my experience and the mistakes that I have made and the things I talk about and teach on this channel can help you expedite your journey. It took me, I wish I was more keen on like actually marking down dates. I would say probably between about closer to like into the 2-year range, right? Now, it doesn't take everybody that long. I am a super, when I started with the worst mentality. I started as the worst beginner trader. I was chasing money. I was trying to get rich overnight, and I was certain that was the way. Anytime I saw anything that was trying to speak any kind of rationale into me, like manage your risk, stop trying to get rich quick, focus on the craft, I was like, you're a moron. You're going to be poor forever. I'm going to keep trying to get rich quick. And it didn't work, right? I'm stubborn. I kept hitting my head against the wall, kept touching the hot stove, touching the hot stove, touching the hot stove, touching the hot stove. It took me a really long time. It wasn't until I extended my time horizon and I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself 2 years to focus on the craft. I don't care if I don't get rich in 2 years off trading, but I'm going to give myself 2 full years to learn the craft. And surely if I put my 100% effort in after 2 years, it's unreasonable for me to not expect to be better after 2 years. And this was already like deep into my journey, so it wound up not taking 2 years after that. But I extended my time horizon, and what did that do, right? Once I stopped trying to get rich quick and I gave myself extra time to not have to worry about, I got to make $10,000 this month, I got to make $5,000 this month. That's where I started to see progress because I was less emotional about making the money, and I didn't care about, on a small account, taking profit for $15, right? I wasn't taking $15 in profit because it wasn't a good trade and it didn't go up a lot. I was taking $15 in profit because I was trading with very small money. And once I realized that, a 15, say a 5% profit on a $100 account is $5. That's not going to change my life. But if I can get to the point where I could take that same trade on a $100,000 account, I can make $5,000 in that trade, right? And I realized that you could just scale it up like that. But I had to remove the want to get rich quick. That is the fastest way. I wish someone told me that. Stop chasing the money. Extend your time horizon. I wish someone was able to tell me that sooner. And that's why I preach about this stuff every day, because that will expedite your learning process. This is what we talk about in the Discord a lot, on top of the TA and the setups and everything. But that is the secret, right? Like managing risk, right, is the secret to trading. There are so many profitable strategies out there. It does not matter what strategy you're using as long as it's legit. If other people are making money using a strategy, which honestly, like most strategies that you see there, most of the popular ones are good enough to make money, right? The people who are not making money trading that stuff, there's a 99% probability that as long as you understand TA and you understand how the markets move and you have a profitable strategy, doesn't mean you're profitable, but you have a profitable strategy and you're still losing money, there's a 99% chance it is just your trade management and your risk management that needs work, right? Otherwise, anyone else trading that strategy wouldn't make money, right? So look within and practice risk management. I have videos on the YouTube channel to show you how to, I think the only leverage trading tutorial you'll ever need to see, that is the video where I talk a lot about that stuff. That's the secret to trading. There's no secret indicator. There's no secret strategy. It's none of that. The thing that I was probably good at TA. I thought I wasn't making money in trading because I was bad at the TA. It wasn't the case. I was right more often than I was wrong, right? I was very good at the TA. I just would enter the trade. I would be right. And then I would get greedy. I wouldn't take profit. It would go all the way back down, and I would lose all my money. TA was good. Strategy was good. Entry was good. Still lost money. How could that be possible? Psychology and risk management. That is more likely than not. If you're losing money, that is more likely than not what you have to work on. So the good thing is it's just something you have to practice, right? It's not, you don't have to like study or anything. It is very difficult, but more often than not, that is the issue. That was the issue for me. I know that for a fact. And based off what I see a lot in the chat, it is a big problem with a lot of people that are new to trading, right? People are always like, how do I trade the 1 minute? I'm like, how long have you been trading for? Like 2 weeks. get off the 1 minute, dude. Take a step back. You don't have to take 5 trades a day. More trades does not equal more money. More trades equals more risk. So there you go. I'll leave that there. But trust me, guys, if I could do it, you could do it. I'll be back here tomorrow. Same place, same time. If you're new here, check out the beginner series. It's all free. It's like a free trading course. Everything to learn how to make money trading is on this channel for free. All you have to do is learn it, do that half, and then you have to do the work yourself to learn how to manage your emotions and learn how to manage the risk. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. Shout out to Dave Digital, said, that's exactly where I'm at. My execution still kind of sucks. Shout out to Dave Digital. Well, it's kind of the last thing to get. It's the last thing to get past. All right, like I would say the TA is not easy, right? But it is by far the easiest part of trading. The TA, finding the levels, finding the setups is by far the easiest part. The hard part is executing and managing. And it takes time. I think a lot of people just, they again, extend your time horizon. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? Like, everyone learns at a different pace. Some people will get it in a week. Well, not a lot of people get it in a week, right? But some people it takes 6 months. Some people it takes 3 months. Some people it takes a year. Some people, like me, it took me close to dang 2 years, right? So, give yourself some time. Bitcoin pumping. Come on, baby. Come on. She's trying. She's just still at the same price. What are we on the long here? Up 350 on the long. Back up 350. But anyway, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Go check out those tutorials and smash the like button as we sign off here. But that's all I got. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. Right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space showing for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Yeah, somebody said Frankie's ears look crisp. This was an unhinged live stream. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm kind of out of it. I feel loopy. Is it a full moon tonight? I don't know. But thank you for the ear comment, guys. I do work on my ears very constantly. I polish them. But shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Have a great night. Try not to fret too much over price action. But I'll keep you guys updated tomorrow. I'll see you later. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy.
time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on the road. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road.